Chapter 984. The natives and players of Silla Country were so excited by the appearance of Dongming Sage King that they forgot that the sword in Dongming Sage King's right hand had been crushed by the sudden appearance of a right hand. Dongming Sage King could not ignore this. It was also because of this that Dongming Sage King's face suddenly turned pale. This was because the strength of Yi Chun who attacked him was terrifyingly high. Most importantly, he did not receive any response from Yi Chun at all when he asked the question. What did it mean for an enemy, especially one who was stronger than him, not to answer his question? As a special person in Silla Country, how could Dongming Sage King not know? To be more precise, Dongming Sage King had already confirmed one thing. That was, not only did Yi Chun look down on him, but he also treated him like a dead man. Otherwise, Yi Chun would have to respond. However, in the end, Yi Chun did not even care about Dongming Sage King. How could Dongming Sage King, who noticed this, not panic? How could he not be afraid? "Sir, who are you?" Dongming Sage King looked at the sky again and asked with a pale face. Before Dongming Sage King's appearance, he was 70% to 80% confident that he could defeat the enemy. Now, Dongming Sage King was already considering whether he could survive. As soon as Dongming Sage King's words fell, the natives and players of Silla Country were all stunned. Although Dongming Sage King was asking, the panic and fear in his words were extremely strong. Otherwise, the native soldiers of Silla Kingdom and the players of Silla Kingdom would not be in such a daze. What's going on? Why do I hear fear in Dongming Sage King's words? A player of Silla Country looked at Dongming Sage King with a confused face, then looked at his companion beside him and asked, "You heard it too? Damn it, I thought I heard wrong." The player of Silla Country who was questioned looked at the player who asked the question with a surprised face and then said. As soon as the two players of Silla Country finished speaking, the surrounding players of Silla Country were instantly in an uproar. This shouldn't be the case. F***CK. Dongming Sage King is the god of our Silla Country. Why would he be afraid? I don't think so either. But I also heard fear in Dongming Sage King's words. Fear? Wait. Damn it. I think I know the reason. What's the reason? Hurry up and tell me. F***CK. I was still very excited just now, but now I don't feel so confident anymore. Think about it. Dongming Sage King said that he would pardon us, and then he raised the sword in his right hand. What happened then? F***CK. Now that you mention it, I remember. When I heard about Dongming Sage King, I forgot that when Dongming Sage King said that he would pardon us, I raised the sword in my right hand. However, a hand suddenly grabbed my sword and crushed it. Damn it, it's Yi Chun. Dongming Sage King must be afraid of Yi Chun. That must be it. Damn it. How could this happen? Dongming Sage King is the almighty god of Silla Nation. How could he be afraid of Yi Chun? How can that be? Just when the players of Silla Nation understood why Dongming Sage King was suddenly afraid and even fearful, the native soldiers of Silla Nation also realized this and fell into chaos. They could not help but be confused. One had to know that even Dongming Sage King, who was their spiritual faith, was scared. How could they remain calm when faced with such a ridiculous matter? What should we do? The deity attacked Silla Nation and Dongming. Dongming Sage King is helpless. I don't know. Damn it. Why is it like this? Just when the native soldiers of Silla Nation were discussing in chaos, Dongming Sage King's face turned green, white, and then red. Regardless of whether it was the conversation between the native soldiers of Silla Kingdom or the players of Silla Kingdom, Dongming Sage King heard it clearly. It was precisely because he heard it clearly that Dongming Sage King's expression suddenly became so interesting. Shut up, all of you. Dongming Sage King's roar instantly made the native soldiers of Silla Nation and the players of Silla Nation shut their mouths. In the next second, hundreds of millions of pairs of eyes looked at Dongming Sage King with a swoosh. This is a matter of life and death for Silla Nation. No matter who you are, as long as you have the blood of Silla Nation flowing in your body, you are the people of Silla Nation. Dongming Sage King paused for a moment and then continued to roar. Everyone listen up. All of you go up the city wall. The enemy's army is about to arrive. You cannot attack each other. You can only work together. As soon as Dongming Sage King's words fell, the native soldiers of Silla Nation were stunned for a moment. Then, they bowed to Dongming Sage King and said yes. Dongming Sage King. Although the native soldiers of Silla Nation were disappointed and even a little panicked because of the fear that Dongming Sage King had just shown, they could not disobey Dongming Sage King's words and orders. This was because Dongming Sage King was the deity of Silla Nation. No matter what the deity's words and orders were, as a member of Silla Nation, they had to obey without hesitation. This was the memory that was engraved in their bones. As soon as the native soldiers of Silla Nation finished speaking, the players of Silla Nation looked at each other. They did not know how to choose. If it was said that their courage had been boosted by Dongming Sage King before, now that they realized that Dongming Sage King was not very reliable, the players of Silla Nation really did not know whether to obey or reject. Just as the players did not know how to choose, the leader of the players of Silla Nation glanced at Dongming Sage King, then looked at the players of Silla Nation and shouted, "Dongming Sage King is right. This is a matter of life and death for Silla Nation. We cannot continue to fight among ourselves." As soon as he said this, the leader of the players of Silla Nation raised a long sword in his right hand and shouted, "All of you, go to the city wall and prepare to meet the enemy. Remember, we're the people of the Republic of Korea. We are not afraid of anything. Even if we lose in the end, we cannot surrender. This is because surrendering is useless. Yichen will not accept our surrender at all. So, use all your strength, all your courage, and bravely fight Yichen's defense organization. As long as we kill and cripple Yichen's army, we can cripple Yichen's minions. Then, let Yichen's heart bleed. Long live the Republic of Korea." When the players of Silla Nation heard this, the confusion and panic in their eyes instantly disappeared without a trace. Then, it was replaced with madness. Chapter 985. After all, Yichun had come to Silla Country to destroy the country. It was impossible for him to let any player from Silla Country go. Since this was already a foregone conclusion, there was no point in being afraid. They might as well go all out and bite Yichun. They would let Yichun feel pain and let Yichun suffer losses. Anyway, this was a game world. They would not really die if they died. At most, they would drop to level 0 and start over. This was the mentality of the hundreds of millions of players in Silla Country. "Go to the city wall." A player from Silla Country shouted with bloodshot eyes. "Go. This time, I will kill more than 10 of Yichen's soldiers. Previously, I was chased around by Yichen's soldiers like dogs. This hatred must be avenged. Yes, revenge." The players from Silla Country shouted one after another. Then, groups of players rushed toward the city wall of Silla Country. When the Grand General of Silla Country saw this, he immediately bowed solemnly to Dongming Sage King. Then he looked at the native soldiers of Silla Country and shouted, "We will go to the city wall too. Remember Lord Dongming Sage King's words. Do not attack the Inhumans." "Yes, Grand General." When the soldiers of Silla Country heard this, they hurriedly bowed. After that, they walked toward the city wall in groups. The natives of Silla Country and the players of Silla Country acted according to Dongming Sage King's words. At a glance, everything was proceeding in an orderly manner. However, Dongming Sage King, who had just given the order, did not have the slightest hint of joy on his face. This was because he knew one thing better than the natives of Silla Country and the players. Yichun, who had just waved his hand and destroyed the palace of Silla Country, did not attack him again. It was not because he could not kill him, but because he wanted to let his subordinates kill him. At first glance, the chances of Dongming Sage King winning this war were very high. After all, he was the god of Silla Country. Yichen's subordinates were not Yichun. However, the reality was not like this at all. If Yichen wasn't confident, he wouldn't have asked his subordinates to kill Dongming Sage King. This was what Dongming Sage King was thinking. At the same time, It was also the reason why he was not happy at all, even though Yi Chun had not attacked him. Damn it, who is this Yi Chun? Why is he so strong? How could there be someone beyond the mortal evolution state in this world? Dongming's Sage King looked calm on the surface, but his heart was in turmoil. As he thought of this, he looked at the sky with a heavy expression, then turned and walked toward the ruins of the palace. Reincarnation Immortal City, City Lord Mansion. Yi Chun, whose consciousness covered the entire capital of Silla Kingdom, glanced at Dongming's Sage King, who was heading towards the ruins of the palace, and then smiled coldly. You're just an ant, and you want to make a comeback? You're dreaming. Dongming's Sacred King had suddenly gone to the ruins of the Imperial Palace. Naturally, he was into the secret land under the Imperial Palace to retrieve something. Yi Chun could not be sure what it was, but this was not important. What was important was that Yi Chun did not want Dongming's Sage King to take out any powerful items that could cause devastating damage to the army of Reincarnation Immortal City. Thinking of this, Yi Chun raised his right hand and pointed at the void. Boom! Boom! In the next second, the bolt of lightning as thick as an arm struck 1/2 meter in front of Dongming's Sage King. Dongming's Sage King, who was almost struck by the bolt of lightning, turned pale. At this moment, an incomparably strong sense of fear involuntarily rose from his heart. He could not help but be afraid because he knew very well that the bolt of lightning that appeared out of thin air was not a normal bolt of lightning. It was a spell, and it was a spell that was powerful enough to destroy him in one strike. As for the source of the spell, there was no doubt that it came from Yi Chun, who had just crushed his weapon. Of course, this was not important. What was important was that he had confirmed Yi Chun's attitude. That meant that he could move around in the city, but he could not leave the capital of Silla Country, let alone enter the secret land under the Imperial Palace. Otherwise, the next bolt of lightning would strike him directly on the head. Thinking of this, Dongming's Sage King's face turned from pale to ferocious. Damn it, this is not a bully. This was what Dongming's Sage King was thinking at this moment. After a short moment of anger, Dongming's Sage King looked up at the sky and shouted, Yi Chun, do you dare to let me return to the secret land? I can tell you clearly that I am going back to the secret land to get the Berserker Pill. Berserker Pill, common at the cost of one's life, greatly increase one's combat power. The lowest level is 10 points, and the highest is 20 points. He did not expect Silla Country to have such a thing. In Yi Chun's previous life, the Berserker Pill had been popular for quite a long time. This was because as long as a person's combat power reached 90 points, after eating the Berserker Pill, they would become a Saint-level general with 100 points of combat power. Then, they would obtain the strongest combat power in the newbie area. Of course, although the effects of the Berserker Pill were powerful, the side effects were very severe. This was because after eating it, there was a 100% chance of death. However, players wouldn't care about this side effect at all. This was because in the eyes of players, the lives of NPCs were not worth mentioning. It did not matter how many of them died. Therefore, when players used the Berserker Pill, they would basically give it to the NPCs. This way, the players themselves would not suffer any losses at all. As for the NPCs who used the Berserker Pill, although they would die, they would bring great help to the players. For example, attacking cities, attacking other forces, killing wild bosses, and so on. No matter what it was, as long as it was related to combat, the Berserker Pill would always be able to unleash its explosive side and bring considerable benefits to the players. This was the reason why the Berserker Pill was popular in Yi Chun's previous life. However, most of the Berserker Pills in his previous life were dropped by the Shonu. Logically speaking, there should not be any in other places. Who would have thought that the special character of Silla Kingdom, Dongming's Sage King, would actually tell Yi Chun that he was going to the secret realm under the palace to get the Berserker Pill? Yi Chun, who noticed this, was naturally a little stunned. In his previous life, no one in Silla Kingdom seemed to have used the Berserker Pill. This was really strange. Thinking of this, Yi Chun suddenly came back to his senses. Then, he looked straight at the front of the palace ruins. Dongming's Sage King, who was so frightened by a bolt of lightning that he did not dare to move. Go and get it. Take as much as you can. All right, you're only allowed to give it to the mutants. Otherwise, I will destroy the souls of everyone in Scylla Kingdom. Previously, Yi Chun did not want Dongming Sage King to go to the secret realm under the palace, because Yi Chun did not want him to take out powerful items from the secret realm under the palace and use them on the army of Reincarnation Immortal City. Now, Yi Chun heard that Dongming Sage King had a lot of berserker pills in his hands. Naturally, he would not reject Dongming Sage King's provocation. One had to know that although Yi Chun went out to war mainly to destroy the country and seize the heaven and earth fate, Yi Chun would not give up on training his troops at the same time. Now, with Dongming Sage King's large number of berserker pills, the strength of the players of Scylla Kingdom would soar directly to the saint-level general level. In addition, the players of Scylla Kingdom were sinners. Killing them would increase the experience by 10 times. With this, the experience that the soldiers of Reincarnation Immortal City could obtain would soar again. How could Yi Chun reject such a good thing? Chapter 986. When Dongming Sage King heard Yi Chun's words, he was stunned. He did not expect that the provocation he had deliberately used out of anger would actually succeed. After regaining his senses, Dongming Sage King's face was suddenly filled with joy. Then, he was stunned again. This was because he remembered the additional condition that Yi Chun had for him to obtain the Berserker Pill from the Arcane Realm. It was only allowed to be used by the Scylla Kingdom's mutants. Did Yi Chun hate the mutants? Or did he only hate the Scylla Kingdom's mutants? No matter what the reason was, at least his plan had succeeded. As long as he could take out the Berserker Pill and give it to the mutants, their strength would soar to the complete sacred level. This time, I want to see if you'll regret your foolish decision. When Dongming Sage King thought of this, a hint of madness flashed in his eyes. Then, he looked straight at the sky and shouted, "Yes." After Dongming Sage King finished speaking, he stomped his right foot on the ruins of the palace. After pausing for 2 seconds, Dongming Sage King, who did not encounter any lightning, heaved a sigh of relief. Then he went straight to the underground arcane realm in the middle of the palace ruins. Reincarnation Immortal City, City Governor's Mansion. Yi Chun, whose divine sense covered the entire capital of Scylla Kingdom, saw Dongming Sage King's actions and curled his lips in disdain. This idiot, did he think that he did not keep his promise? But then again, he was not sure if this bastard had any powerful items in his hands. Just in case, after he took out the Berserker Pill, he would just kill him directly. Even the weakest of my soldiers are more valuable than his life. Thinking of this, Yi Chun's eyes flashed with a cold light. 30 miles outside the capital of Scylla Kingdom. Rumble, thousands of horses galloped, and the earth rumbled. The Reincarnation Immortal City's army was like a torrent, galloping against the moonlight. Behind them, the dust that was stirred up by the galloping horses danced in the wind. No one spoke and no one spoke. They only galloped silently and galloped again and again. Behind the army of the Reincarnation Immortal City was the army of the Reincarnation Immortal City that was constantly emitting a bloody aura that soared into the sky. It was so dense that it was suffocating and soul-shaking. It had been a day since the army of Reincarnation Immortal City left the country. During this period, the army of Reincarnation Immortal City didn't rest at all. They were constantly moving and killing enemies. With such a high-intensity battle, if it was an ordinary defense organization, they would have collapsed long ago. However, the Reincarnation Immortal City army didn't. This was because even the weakest among them had reached the martial emperor realm. This was a genuine emperor-level military general, not a saint-level military general that had been promoted through special pills such as the Berserk Pill. This was something that could be compared to him. Of course, if the soldiers of the Reincarnation Immortal City were powerful, the battle wouldn't last this long. After all, the mounts were also contributing to the battle. If it was an ordinary warhorse, it would have been foaming at the mouth. However, because of the Reincarnation Immortal City's warhorses, each and every one of them had advanced more than 3 times under the vast amount of spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the Reincarnation Immortal City, becoming an existence that was second only to the heavenly horse. Although the war horses of the reincarnation Immortal City still had a long way to go before they could become heavenly horses, they could still support the army of reincarnation Immortal City and fight a high-intensity battle. Rumble. 10,000 horses galloped and the earth rumbled. In front of the army of reincarnation Immortal City, Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Huang Zhong, Gao Shun, Li Yuanba, and the other generals realized that their lord, Yi Chun, hadn't used his spatial ability to teleport them out of the capital of Xinlua country for a long time. They looked at each other and shouted in unison, "Speed up!" They didn't know why their lord, Yi Chun, didn't teleport them out like before, but they didn't have any other thoughts because of this. This was because they knew that their lord, Yi Chun, didn't make any decision or order on the spur of the moment, let alone being willful. Therefore, there was only one thing that they could do, and that was to follow their lord, Yi Chun's order, and carry it out. Even if they were heading towards a bottomless abyss or a sea of purgatory fire, they wouldn't stop or retreat. Behind the army of reincarnation Immortal City, the endless army of Eastern players chased after the army of reincarnation Immortal City desperately. They wanted to follow the army of reincarnation Immortal City closely. After the army of reincarnation Immortal City destroyed Xinlua country, they would rush to the capital of Xinlua country to pick up equipment, skills, and coins. Although it looked like they were picking up rubbish, the truth was that these players were enjoying it. This was because the items that they picked up were extremely valuable, and they wouldn't be able to drop it by themselves. Even if they were willing to team up, it would be very difficult for it to drop. Even if they were lucky enough to get it, they would have to go through a lot of casualties. Of course, the most important thing was that Yi Chun didn't mind the players doing this at all. Otherwise, none of the Eastern players would dare to follow behind Yi Chun and reap the benefits. Capital of Xinlua country, in the ruins of the palace. Dongming's sage king, who had returned to the secret land under the palace, walked out of the secret land not long after. He didn't dare to not come out because there was only one exit to the secret land, and its location had been exposed. If he didn't come out, he would definitely be killed by Yi Chun. Dongming's sage king was very clear about this point. Dongming's sage king, who had reappeared in the ruins, looked up at the sky, and then went straight to the city wall of Xinlua country's capital. Dongming Sage King's actions quickly attracted the attention of the native soldiers of Xinlua country and the players of Xinlua country. They hurriedly moved aside, allowing Dongming Sage King to ascend the city wall without any obstructions. Not long after, Dongming Sage King arrived at the city wall of Xinlua country's capital. Dongming Sage King turned around and looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar capital of Xinlua country. He then looked at the city wall and the players of Xinlua who were standing together and shouted, "I have some pills. After consuming them, you can increase your attack by 10 to 20 points. Are you willing to take them?" Dongming Sage King's words stunned the native soldiers of Xinlua country. The players of Xinlua country, on the other hand, were stunned. Just as the native soldiers of Silla Kingdom could not understand why their most respected Dongming Sage King was willing to give the players of Silla Kingdom powerful elixirs, but not them, the players of Silla Kingdom suddenly came back to their senses and let out a deafening cheer. "Ha! This is great. With these pills, we can become Saint-level generals directly. Previously, I was worried that we wouldn't be able to defeat Yi Chen's army. Now, with these pills, we can easily crush Yi Chen's army." Chapter 987. When Dongming Sage King heard the cheers of the Silla Kingdom players, his eyes flashed with a hint of pity. However, it was quickly replaced by madness. If the Silla Kingdom players ate the Berserker pill, they would definitely die. However, if they did not eat the Berserker pill, they would still die. Although Dongming Sage King did not see Yi Chen's army and did not know the strength of Yi Chen's army, with Yi Chen around, the strength of the reincarnation Immortal City's army was not important. This was because even if Yi Chen's army was not strong, with Yi Chen around, Silla Kingdom would still face the fate of being destroyed. It could be said that the outcome was already decided. Even Dongming's Sage King would not be an exception. Since it was already like this, why not go crazy one last time and give Yichen a hard time? Thinking of this, Dongming's Sage King let out a long sigh. He then shouted, "Based on the cities, one person from each city report the number of mutants in your city, and then according to the number, receive the Berserker Pill. Remember, do not overreport." As soon as Dongming's Sage King finished speaking, the Scylla Kingdom players immediately stopped cheering. Then, they saw the lords of the various cities in Scylla Kingdom come before Dongming's Sage King excitedly. "Lord Dongming's Sage King, there are 153,281 mutants in my city." A slightly plump Scylla Kingdom lord bowed excitedly. When Dongming's Sage King heard this, he waved his right hand, and a huge wooden box instantly appeared on the city wall. When the slightly plump Scylla Kingdom lord saw this, he quickly bowed to Dongming's Sage King and said, "Thank you, Lord Dongming's Sage King." After the slightly plump Scylla Kingdom lord finished speaking, he bent down and put the wooden box into the player's inventory space. Then, he went straight to the Scylla Kingdom players living in the cities he controlled in the real world and distributed the Berserker Pills. As the slightly plump Scylla Kingdom lord left, another Scylla Kingdom lord came forward and received a box of Berserker Pills from Dongming's Sage King. At this moment, a scream suddenly came from the city wall. F***CK. After eating this Berserk Pill, it can only last for 2 hours. After 2 hours, your body will explode and you will die. As soon as they landed, the Shinlawal players on the city wall who had received the Berserker Pill, as well as the Stickbone player Overlord, all picked up the Berserker Pill and looked over. In the next second, a wave of exclamations followed. "Are you kidding me? Is this a F***king poison? This is poison, all right? If you eat it, you'll definitely die. If it's not poison, then what is it? What the F***ck? I thought this was some kind of godly medicine that could permanently increase one's strength after eating it. That's what I thought too. Originally, I was thinking of keeping the Berserker Pill and eating it when I was defeated and leveled up to 80 again." The players of Scylla Nation roared furiously. They were not afraid of Dongming's Sage King, who is the god of Scylla Nation. Dongming's Sage King's face alternated between green and red when he saw the result. It was obvious that he had been greatly provoked. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this. In fact, the players of Scylla Nation couldn't be blamed for being like this. It was Dongming's Sage King's fault for showing his fear of Yichun from the beginning. It was extremely difficult for such a god to gain the respect of the people. The leader of the Scylla Nation players noticed that Dongming's Sage King's expression was not right. He glanced at Dongming's Sage King, then looked at the players of Scylla Nation and shouted, "Shut up, all of you. Don't you know that we can't beat Yichun at all?" As soon as the leader of the Scylla Nation players finished speaking, Dongming's Sage King's face instantly turned green. It couldn't be helped. Although the leader of the Scylla Nation players did not mention Dongming's Sage King, his words were full of contempt for Dongming's Sage King. This could be easily seen from the leader of the Scylla Nation players' words that failure is a foregone conclusion. Although this was already a fact that everyone in Scylla Nation recognized, it was a little unkind to say it out loud. Otherwise, why would Dongming's Sage King's face turn green all of a sudden? Dongming's Sage King's face was green, while the players of Scylla Nation looked at each other and then calmed down. In the eyes of the players of Scylla Nation, the leader of the Scylla Nation players was right. With Yi Chun, the number one pervert of the East, there was really no way Scylla Nation could cause any trouble. It couldn't be helped. Yi Chun's strength was too strong. He didn't even appear, and he destroyed the palace of Scylla Nation with a slap. This wasn't something that a human could do at all. Of course, this was not the main point. The main point was that the god of Scylla Nation, Dongming's Sage King, was actually so afraid of Yi Chun, who he had never met. This was a huge blow to the players of Scylla Nation. If they could still be arrogant enough to think that they could defeat Yi Chun and repel the reincarnation of Mortal City's army, then there would be something wrong. Seeing that the players had quietened down, the leader of the Scylla Nation players nodded in satisfaction and then said, "So, this Berserker Pill is our last chance to resist Yi Chun. Eat it, and we can make Yi Chun feel heartache and make Yi-Chen regret. The leader is right. Anyway, we're going to die anyway. Why think about this and that? Just eat it and fight with Yi-Chen's army. Yes, that's right. We'll make Yi-Chen pay for his pretentious act. That's it. He's obviously very strong, but he deliberately didn't make a move and let his army do it. This time, we'll let Yi-Chen know what regret is, what heartache is. The players of Scylla Nation were talking one after another. Their voices were getting louder and louder, and the atmosphere was getting more and more enthusiastic. When the leader of the Scylla Nation players saw this, he nodded in satisfaction. Then, he looked at Dongming's Sage King and bowed solemnly. Lord Dongming Sage King, please continue to distribute the Berserker pills. When Dongming Sage King heard the leader of the Scylla Nation players' words, he looked deeply at the leader of the Scylla Nation players and then distributed the Berserker pills again. One by one, the lords of the Scylla Nation players came forward to receive the Berserker pills. Then, they returned to the Scylla Nation players under their control and distributed the Berserker pills according to the number of people. Time passed slowly. When all the Scylla Nation players had received a Berserker pill, the earth-shattering sound of horse hooves suddenly came from afar. Rumble. 10,000 horses galloped and the earth rumbled. When the Scylla Nation players heard the sound, they looked in the direction of the sound in unison. Then, they saw the reincarnation Immortal City's army with blood-stained armor under the moonlight. Chapter 988. Damn it, Yi-Chen's defense team is here. A Scylla player's eyes narrowed as he shouted in shock. What are you afraid of? With a Berserker pill, even if we self-destruct in 2 hours, it's nothing. We can all become Saint-level generals. Even the weakest ones can become Overlord-level generals. Fight them. Kill them. A Scylla Kingdom's lord roared angrily when he heard this. Yes, there's nothing to be afraid of. As long as we become Saint-level generals, we'll be the strongest. It's just killing a native soldier. It's easy. Moreover, we have tens of millions of people. Stop wasting time. Hurry up and get the Berserker pill. When Yi-Chen's defense team arrives, we'll teach them a good lesson. The dignity of the Republic of Korea is not to be violated. The players of Scylla Kingdom spoke one after another, and order was quickly restored. Then, they received the Berserker pills from their respective lords. With the good cooperation of the Scylla players, the mutant players in the capital of Scylla quickly received a Berserker pill. Although they knew that after eating the Berserker pill, they would explode and die in 2 hours, the Scylla players did not hesitate and chose to eat it directly, because they would be killed whether they ate it or not, and their levels would be reset to 0. There was nothing to hesitate about. The results did not disappoint them. The effect of the Berserker pill was as the description said. It could really increase the martial strength by 10 to 20 points. For a moment, the entire Scylla Kingdom was in an uproar. The Scylla players who had obtained an increase in their force were all in a frenzy. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. Wahaha! I increased my martial strength by 15 points. A whole 15 points. I, who did not advance to the innate realm, actually reached the innate full circle and became a saint-level general with 100 martial strength. This time, I'll make sure that the trash from Samsara City never returns. Wahaha! Dongming Sage King is indeed the savior of our great Scylla Kingdom. I actually increased my martial strength by 18 points. Long live Scylla Kingdom. Long live Dongming Sage King. Ignorant thing, 18 points of martial strength makes you so happy? I increased it by 20 points this time. When the Samsara City army arrives, I'll make sure they never return. Wahaha! Just as the players of Scylla Kingdom were immersed in great joy, the army of Reincarnation Immortal City had already arrived outside the royal city. Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun, Huang Zhong, and the other generals led an army of 41 million soldiers to surround the Scylla Kingdom. When the native general of Scylla Kingdom received the news, he immediately organized his troops to climb up the city wall and prepare to fight to the death with the army of Samsara City. At this time, all the Scylla players had already climbed up the city wall. They had just taken the berserker pill, so they were all full of confidence. They couldn't wait to rush down and fight with the Samsara city army to see how much their strength had increased. Looking down from the top of the city wall, one could see banners fluttering in the wind and drums rumbling outside the city. More than 2 million soldiers of Reincarnation Immortal City lined up in neat formations. Their morale was high, and they were in high spirits. The neat military formation stretched as far as the eye could see. At this moment, under the command of the general, they were steadily advancing towards the kingdom of Shinloa. Their footsteps were in unison. With every step they took, the ground trembled. Such a fierce army made the native generals of Silla Kingdom on the city wall break out in cold sweat. Although they hadn't fought yet, they had a strong feeling that this defense organization was definitely not to be trifled with from the might of the Reincarnation Immortal City's army. What kind of training and battles did they go through to create such a powerful and experienced army? Although the strength of the players had skyrocketed after taking the berserker pill, giving the native generals a lot of confidence, after seeing the might of the Reincarnation Immortal City's army, their confidence was shaken again. Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Huang Zhong, Zhao Yun, and the others led the army and ordered the troops to stop when they were 2,000 meters away from the city wall. They didn't persuade them to surrender, nor did they challenge them, nor did they say anything to boost their morale. After they reorganized their troops, they simply gave the order to shoot at the enemy first. Woo! The flag waved and the horn buzzed. After receiving the order from the general, the Reincarnation Immortal City's army immediately adjusted their battle formation. The front line became the back line, and the back line became the front line. The horses galloped rapidly, and the army shuttled back and forth. The forest of spears was like a sea, and the army formation was like a mountain. In just a moment, hundreds of thousands of Reincarnation Immortal City's defense organizations appeared in front of the 4 city gates of the kingdom of Shinlua. At this moment, the Silla players on the city wall saw the Reincarnation Immortal City's formation, and they couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha! Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Are these Reincarnation Immortal City's generals idiots? They're so far away, and they want to shoot at us with their bows? You're right. This Yi Chun is strong, but in terms of leading troops, it's obvious that he's a simple-minded guy. Wah! What a joke. I'm here. Trash idiots of Reincarnation Immortal City. Come and shoot me? Wah! It was no wonder that the Shinlua players had such a reaction. After all of them had taken the berserker pill, even the weakest of them had reached the innate realm. If Yi Chun had heard such a joke before he had transmigrated, he would have probably laughed until tears rolled down his face. But now everything was different. In front of the kingdom of Shinlua, the bugle horns sounded. The Reincarnation Immortal City's soldiers didn't react to the mocking laughter from the city walls. They were just seriously preparing for battle. The 400,000 archers were divided into 40 square formations, and they were distributed 2,000 meters away from the 4 walls of the kingdom of Shinlua. Although they were changing their weapons, their formation was not messed up at all. As Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun, Huang Zhong, and the rest gave the order, the generals in the square formations immediately gave the order to shoot. Get ready. Release. Wong. In an instant, countless bowstrings were released, and dark clouds flashed with cold light as they poured down on the kingdom of Shinlua. The sharp arrowheads tore through the air, making ear-piercing sounds. Like meteors, they smashed into the city wall as easily as crushing dry weeds. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, countless locust-like arrows with ear-piercing screeches drilled into the bodies of the kingdom of Shinlua players. Puff, 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 puff. How is this possible? Countless kingdom of Shinlua players fell into a pool of blood unwillingly. They were killed on the spot, and their faces were filled with disbelief before they died. This is impossible. F*CK. I'm an innate stage. I'm already a saint-level general, and I'm still shot to death by arrows? Who can tell me what's going on? The Kingdom of Shinlua players were so angry that their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Seeing the tragic deaths of their companions, they hid everywhere and cursed in their hearts. Could this King Berserker pill be fake? Their strength had clearly increased to the innate stage, but they still couldn't block the arrows of the soldiers. Dongming Sage King, could it be that you're selling fake medicine? No matter how much the Kingdom of Shinlua players cursed or dodged, the rain of arrows in the sky did not have any intention of stopping. It was always reaping the lives of the Kingdom of Shinlua players and natives. Below the city, Reincarnation Immortal City's arrows came wave after wave. The rain of arrows was incomparably fast, covering the top of the city wall, turning those unlucky people who did not dodge into sieves. The Kingdom of Shinlua players on the city wall, who were like headless flies, grabbed everything they thought could be used as a shield to block their heads. However, under the storm-like bombardment of Reincarnation Immortal City, it was obvious that they did not care about their heads. The accuracy of the Reincarnation Immortal City soldiers was not to be underestimated. After several rounds of arrow rain, there was almost no one on the city wall of the Kingdom of Shinlua. At this time, no one noticed that the corpses of the dead Kingdom of Shinlua players had turned into a red blood mist and gradually spread on the city wall. Whether it was Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, or Huang Zhong, although they didn't understand Yi Chen's order, they wouldn't question it. To them, no matter what order their lord, Yi Chen, gave, they would obey at 100%. Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Huang Zhong, and the others raised their weapons and shouted, "Stop the attack! Retreat 3 miles!" As soon as the generals finished speaking, the messengers of the Reincarnation Immortal City blew the bugle horn for retreat. Then, they waved the flag to give the order to retreat. In the next second, the Reincarnation Immortal City's army, which had just started a massacre, turned their horses around. The rear army became the front army and left the capital of Silla Country. It was only when the Reincarnation Immortal City's army was 3 miles away from the capital of Silla Country that they stopped. Then they turned around again and stood still. On the city walls of the capital of Silla Country, Dongming Sage King, who didn't get a reply from Yi Chen, looked at the Reincarnation Immortal City's army again. Then he saw the Reincarnation Immortal City's army retreating. After being stunned for a moment, Dongming Sage King's eyes were filled with disappointment. Obviously, Dongming Sage King was looking forward to the Reincarnation Immortal City's army attacking the city. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a look. Reincarnation Immortal City, City Governor's Mansion. Yi Chen's spiritual consciousness covered the entire capital of Silla Country. When he saw Dongming Sage King's disappointed look, he squinted his eyes. This son of 8B*TCH, he has indeed set up some traps for my army. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, Guijia, who used the military advisor skill to release a 3-dimensional map of the entire battlefield, could not help but frown. Then he looked straight in the direction of the capital of Silla Kingdom and shouted, "Eye of the Ghost Deity." As soon as Guijia finished his words, his eyes turned completely black. When Yi Chen saw this, he knew that Guijia must have seen through something. Otherwise, Guijia wouldn't have used the Eye of the Ghost Deity, which consumed a lot of true origin energy. After a few breaths, Guijia closed his eyes. After a short silence, Guijia opened his eyes and looked at Yi Chen. He then bowed and said, "Lord, this Silla Country just released an evil chi. The Reincarnation Immortal City's army can't go near it easily. Otherwise, they will definitely fall into it." When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes narrowed, and a cold light flashed in them. In the next second, Yi Chen looked straight at Guijia and asked, "Feng Shao, can you see the origin of the blood mist on the city wall of Silla Country?" "My lord, from what I can see, the blood mist on the city walls contains 2 types of attributes. The first is a curse, and the second is a plague. Unless my lord personally takes action and burns it with raging flames, no one in this world will be able to stop it. Curse and plague. Damn it, I know about curses and plagues. I've encountered them in my previous life, but they weren't as mysterious as this blood mist. Even a mortal evolution state couldn't stop it. This son of AB****, Dongming Sage King, knew a lot of things in Yi Chen's previous life. Dongming Sage King didn't even appear because Silla country in Yi Chen's previous life wasn't beaten so badly. It was also because of this reason that even Yi Chen, who was reborn, couldn't see the origin of the blood mist on the city wall of Silla country after the death of the Silla country players. Since this blood mist was so fierce, he would burn it all. Thinking about this, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened. Just as Yi Chen was about to release the Sun True Fire to burn the city wall of Silla country, the blood mist on the city wall suddenly erupted and spread toward the city. Seeing this, Yi Chen was stunned. This blood mist, it could be controlled by someone. One couldn't blame Yi Chen for thinking this way. One must know that the blood mist was also a mist. As long as it was a mist, it could be blown away by the wind. However, this blood mist was obviously abnormal. Not only was it not blown away by the wind, but it also moved toward the city of Silla country. There was something wrong with this blood mist. This son of AB***, Dongming Sage King, didn't control the blood mist to chase after my army. Instead, he attacked the players and natives who hadn't reached the city wall. Could it be that this was a blood sacrifice ceremony or a summoning ceremony? Damn it, it must be like this. Thinking about this, Yi Chen's eyes lit up. Damn it, luckily I didn't kill Dongming Sage King directly. Otherwise, I would have missed this opportunity to reap benefits. Chapter 990. Yi Chen's current state had already reached the tribulation transcendent state. If he killed any natives or monsters, as long as they were not special, he would not gain any experience at all. It was also because of this reason that Yi Chen would let his subordinates and his army fight most of the time when he went abroad. Of course, this was not important. What was important was that the number of monsters that could benefit Yi Chen was very small. If it were not for this reason, Yi Chen would not be so excited when he realized that Dongming Saint King was preparing for a blood sacrifice or summoning. Dongming Saint King was at the mortal evolution state. Whatever he created or summoned would definitely surpass the novice level. Although he did not know what it was after killing it, he would definitely gain a lot of benefits. Not bad. Not bad thinking about this. Yi Chen could not help but smile. On the streets of the capital city of Silla Nation, the native soldiers and the players of Silla Nation were shocked when they saw the bloody mist floating down from the city walls. They were stunned for a moment before they burst into an uproar. What? What is this? Why does it look like a bloody mist formed from fresh blood? It is blood mist. Damn it. How can Yi Chen's protection organization have such an effect when they kill people? Damn it. This is not important. I just want to know one thing now. We have eaten the Berserker pill, and most of us have become Saint-level generals, but we still can't stop the arrow rain from Yi Chen's army. What should we do? Wait until the time is up and explode to death. I don't think we can wait until then. We don't know what state Yi Chen's army is at, and we don't know what equipment they have. Even Saint-level generals can't withstand their arrow rain. We definitely won't be an exception. When Yi Chen's army breaks into the city, we will all die. Damn it, I really don't want to accept this. I originally thought that this time, I could take revenge on Yi Chen. At the very least, I could kill hundreds of Yi Chen's soldiers. Who would have thought that Yi Chen's army is so perverted? Damn it, I don't want to accept this either, but what can I do? We are all Saint-level generals, and we can't beat Yi Chen's army. The native soldiers of Xinlua were terrified because the army of Reincarnation Immortal City was too strong. The players of Xinlua were discussing because the army of Reincarnation Immortal City was too perverted. The blood mist that floated into the city from the city walls began to come into contact with the densely packed native soldiers on the streets of the city and the players of Xinlua. Cough, 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 cough. Intense coughing sounds instantly rang out in waves. What's going on? Why do I suddenly feel so uncomfortable? Me too. Cough, 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 cough. Something's wrong. Cough, cough. Look, everyone, cough, cough, everyone is coughing. Damn it, what's going on? There's something wrong with the blood mist. It must be like this. Yi-chun did it. It must be Yi-chun. Damn it, cough, cough. His army attacked our compatriots on the city walls, and then the blood mist appeared. This goddamn Yi-chun, his army is so strong, but he still wants to use martial skills. Cough, cough. Just as the players of Shinlua were talking and coughing at the same time, large mouthfuls of blood began to cough out of their mouths. At this moment, the entire streets of the capital of Shinlua were filled with the smell of blood. Damn it, don't give me a chance. Otherwise, I will take revenge crazily. I want revenge too. Damn Yi-chun. He didn't play a good game, but he did something that violated the convention. In the City Lord's mansion of the Reincarnation Immortal City, Yi-chun, whose divine sense enveloped the entire capital of Shinlua, sneered after hearing the extremely angry curses of the players of Shinlua. A bunch of idiots. If I want to kill you, I wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. All of your heads are F***king fixed on the moon. Just as Yi-chun thought of this, waves of roars that sounded like the roars of beasts suddenly sounded from the capital of Shinlua. Roar! Roar! The eyes of the natives and players of Shinlua in the capital of Shinlua quickly turned red. Then, they raised their necks and roared with all their might. As they roared, the blood that was originally bright red turned as black as ink in the blink of an eye. At the same time, black lines that looked like earthworms crawled all over the bodies of the natives and players of Shinlua. Then, they crawled all over their faces. The natives and players of Shinlua, who were still coughing violently and hadn't undergone such a change, couldn't help but widen their eyes when they saw their companions, who had completely changed. This, what the F***ck is this? Ghost. Ghost, damn it. We're going to become like them, too. Noisy shouts rang out one after another from the natives of Scylla Kingdom and the players of Scylla Kingdom who had yet to change. However, soon, the exclamations were covered by the roars of beasts and disappeared without a trace. Roar, 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 when all the natives and players in the capital of Shinlua turned into existences with black, twisted blood vessels, ashen skin, and scarlet eyes, an extremely strong aura of death instantly erupted from the capital of Shinlua. At this moment, the bodies of the natives and players in the capital of Shinlua began to change again. Some of them grew 3 times or 5 times larger, like mountains of flesh. Some of them grew pitch-black nails that were like sharp blades on their hands. Some of their mouths turned into sharp beasts' mouths and grew long heads. Some of them even grew scales and tails. The changes in the capital of Shinlua were very fast. When Yi-chun saw this scene, he was stunned. F***ck. This scene seems a little familiar. Yi-chun had never encountered such natives or players in his previous life. He had never even heard of such a thing. Originally, Yi-chun should have felt unfamiliar, but strangely, Yi-chun felt a sense of familiarity. And this was also the reason why Yi-chun was puzzled. Just when Yi-chun was puzzled, the world announcement suddenly sounded. Ding! Shinlua's special character, Dongming Sage King, used a special potion. Everyone in Shinlua has turned into zombies. Ding! Special event has been officially activated. Kill zombies and stop the zombie plague from spreading. Ding! All players in the world can go to Shinlua and participate in killing zombies. The time limit is 1 hour. During this time, for every zombie killed, the experience gained will increase by 10 times, the drop rate will increase by 10 times, and there's a chance for special items to drop. Ding! Players in the world are reminded that the zombie plague is extremely contagious. If you're injured, whether in the real world or the game world, you will be infected and become a zombie. Chapter 991. The world announcement was repeated 3 times in a row. Yi-chun, who was puzzled by the strange feeling, suddenly came to a realization. Damn it, I was wondering why I felt a sense of familiarity when I saw the natives and players of Shinlua turning into things. So they were all F***king zombies. However, the zombies here seemed to be a little too strong. Zombies were monsters that often appeared in various science fiction movies and novels before the meteor fell. They were transformed from humans, but they also ate humans. Some were strong, some were weak, but basically, guns could easily kill them, especially when they had just turned into zombies. In the capital of Shinlua, the Korean zombies created by the Dongming Saint King were obviously different from the zombies in movies and novels. To be more precise, the natives and players of Shinlua who had turned into zombies had all reached the mortal evolution state. In the newbie area, their strength could almost crush all the players. Of course, Yi Chen was an exception. This was because Yi Chen's army, whether it was the Samsara Legion or the White Horse Legion, were all at the mortal evolution state. Even if the rest had not reached the mortal evolution state, they were all equipped with spirit artifact level armor and weapons. It was really not that easy for the zombies of Shinlua to hurt the soldiers of Reincarnation Immortal City who were wearing equipment that was 2 levels higher than the highest grade in the newbie area. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, the temporarily silent world channel instantly exploded. Damn zombies? Could it be those zombies in the movies that only know how to eat humans? It should be. Otherwise, the world announcement wouldn't say that after being injured by them, they would turn into zombies. Damn it, this isn't the key, okay? The key is that players all over the world can go to Shinlua and kill zombies. You mean there will be a teleportation formation in other countries that can teleport to Shinlua? Nonsense, damn it. A red teleportation formation has appeared here. I have one too. Damn it, if we go over, wouldn't we start fighting with players from other countries before we even kill zombies? What's there to be afraid of? Don't forget that Yi Yu of Gojoseon is in Silla Country right now. With Yi Yu of Gojoseon around, no matter how many players from other countries come, they will just be sending themselves to their deaths. I advise you guys not to go there. Yi Chen is willing to bring you guys to kill foreign players. He's willing to let you guys pick up equipment and skills, but he won't agree to let you guys kill zombies. Don't forget, the world announcement clearly stated that when killing zombies, the experience gained from killing zombies will increase by 10 times. The drop rate will increase by 2 times, and there's also a chance to drop special items. F*CK. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have built a teleportation formation and gone there directly. Cough, cough, forget it. I'll pretend I didn't hear it. Whoever wants to go, go. I don't plan to go anyway. If I go, I might get hurt and turn into a zombie in the real world. I don't have that kind of hobby. The world channel was in an uproar as it was constantly being updated. Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw it. However, it's best if they come to snatch it. If they come, don't blame me for being merciless. Yi Chen went out to fight and drop a lot of things. Yi Chen didn't want them because those things were completely useless to Yi Chen. Therefore, Yi Chen didn't mind the players following behind and picking up as much as they could. However, it was different now. In the capital of Silla, there were nearly 100 million zombies. They were already on the world announcement. Killing them would give 10 times the experience under normal circumstances. Moreover, the drop rate would increase by 2 times, and they could even drop special items. This was a benefit that was placed in front of Yi Chen. No matter how generous Yi Chen was, it was impossible for him to give this away. Whether it was selfishness or self-interest, Yi Chen wouldn't give up the reward that he could get. Yi Chen was like this in the past, and Yi Chen was like this now. It will be the same in the future. Even if there were players from the East, there wouldn't be many of them. As for the foreign players, it might not be the case. Let's get rid of these zombies first and earn some money. If anyone dares to teleport over and snatch the zombies from me, I'll kill them all. Thinking of this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed. In the next second, Yi Chen looked straight at the Reincarnation Immortal City's army and shouted, "Advance 3 miles. Use bows and arrows to attack. Don't break the city." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Huang Zhong, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Gao Shun, and the other generals who had retreated 3 miles and were waiting for orders. When they heard this, they bowed in unison to the Reincarnation Immortal Island that suddenly appeared above the white clouds. After the generals finished speaking, they gave the order in unison and led the Reincarnation Immortal City's army toward the capital of Silla. Yichen glanced at the army under his command and then looked straight at the city wall of Silla. For some reason, Dongming Sage King's face suddenly twisted. This guy seemed to be hesitating about something. Thinking of this, Yichen couldn't help but be stunned. F***CK. The zombie army in the capital of Silla wasn't his last resort. If that's the case, then I'm going to make a fortune this time. F***CK. I'll keep this guy alive first and wait for him to use his last resort. If it was in the past, Yichen would definitely not be so arrogant and let others summon this and that, because doing so would be very dangerous and would even bring a fatal crisis to Yichen. But now it was different. To be more precise, Yichen now had the ability to deal with all kinds of crises. As for the reason, it was very simple. At this moment, Yichen was even more abnormal than before. His subordinates were the howling celestial dog that was comparable to a golden immortal. It also helped Yichen plunder various resources such as elixirs and immortal medicines in the untainted world. The nine-tailed celestial fox, Tushan Daji, who was comparable to a divine immortal. She was transformed from Hutu's blood essence and primordial spirit. Her realm had reached Daluo Jinxian, and she had also become Yichen's woman, Meng Pe. With these three subordinates, in addition to Yichen, who was even more abnormal than before, there was no character or monster in the newbie area that could threaten Yichen. It was also because of this reason that Yichen became excited after realizing that Dongming Sage King still had other means. This was because the means that Dongming Sage King was still unwilling to use until now were 100% more powerful, and the side effect were great. Otherwise, Dongming Sage King would definitely use it directly instead of struggling and hesitating so much. And once such means were used, the final result would definitely be an existence that was stronger than the zombie army in the capital of Silla Kingdom. Once an abnormally powerful existence appeared, then Yichen could make a move, kill it, and then make a fortune. Thinking of this, Yichen's mind moved, and two fireballs, one red and one white, instantly appeared. Then, they flew straight to the capital of Silla Kingdom. In the blink of an eye, they arrived above the capital of Silla Kingdom. Boom! Boom! After two earth-shattering explosions, the two fireballs, one red and one white, directly exploded and then landed outside the walls of the capital of Silla Kingdom. In the next second, a violent explosion directly sounded. Boom! 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 In the blink of an eye outside the four walls of the capital of Silla Kingdom, one side was ignited and quickly rose. The red and white walls of fire were intertwined. In the blink of an eye, the red and white walls of fire surpassed the walls of the capital of Silla Kingdom. Then, they gathered in the sky and formed a red and white fire shield, completely enveloping the capital of Silla Kingdom. On the walls of the capital of Silla Kingdom, Dongming Sage King, who was still hesitating and struggling, suddenly turned pale when he saw this. Then, he looked at the sky and roared furiously, "You! Who are you?" Chapter 992. Dongming Sage King had already thought that Yichen was very powerful, but in the end, Yichen's performance was even more powerful than he had imagined. Two F***King fireballs actually created a fire shield, and it even covered the entire capital of Silla Country. Of course, this was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the temperature of the fire that covered the capital of Silla Kingdom was terrifyingly high. This could be easily felt from the rapidly rising temperature of the city walls. "Prince Yu of Han, Yichen." After hearing Dongming Sage King's question, Yichen smiled coldly and then shouted telepathically. Dongming Sage King was the god of Silla Kingdom. The people of Silla Kingdom respected him, but Yichen only saw him as a barbarian, a piece of trash. Naturally, he would not speak to him nicely. As for Yichen's use of the primordial sun flame and the red lotus hellfire, it was to prevent the natives and players of Silla Kingdom, who had turned into zombies, from leaving the capital. Secondly, it was to prevent other players from taking advantage of the situation. Of course, the most important thing was to prevent the zombie plague from spreading out of the capital of Silla Kingdom. Yi Chen did not want his army to be infected by the zombie plague and turn into zombies. Of course, there was no longer the strange blood fog in the capital of Silla Kingdom. However, the players of Silla Kingdom who had taken the berserker pill that Dongming's Sage King had tampered with were still alive. Although they had turned into zombies, even Yi Chen could not be sure if they would self-destruct after being killed, and then the zombie plague would appear again. Therefore, Yi Chen directly used the fire to surround the city. This way, everything would be solved, and there would be no more worries. Good. Yi Chen, just you wait. Dongming's Sage King was flustered and exasperated. In a flash, he went down the city walls and entered the secret underground of the palace ruins again. Dongming's Sage King, who was originally very angry, immediately had a vicious look on his face as soon as he returned to the secret underground. Yi Chen, oh Yi Chen, even if you have great connections, in the end, you still fell into my trap. When I summon the Nether Blood Demon, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. It was obvious that Dongming's Sage King's performance on the city wall was just an act. As for his goal, it was to make Yi Chen relax and not kill him directly. However, what Dongming's Sage King did not know was that regardless of whether he wanted Yi Chen to relax, Yi Chen would not attack him directly. One had to know that Yi Chen was still waiting for the Dongming Sage King to summon a powerful being. Then, he would kill it and make a killing. After Dongming Sage King finished speaking, he walked to an altar in the middle of the secret territory. At this moment, a whirlpool had appeared above the blood-red altar. In the center of the whirlpool, blood-red mist was constantly being devoured. If Yi Chen was here and saw the blood-red mist, he would immediately know what it was. It was completely different from the blood-red mist that had ravaged the capital of Silla Kingdom and turned all the natives and players of Silla Kingdom into zombies. To be more precise, the blood-red mist here was murderous chi. It was a combination of murderous intent and various evil thoughts. The probability of it appearing was very low because this was the Yang realm and not the underworld. However, this was not important. What was important was that murderous chi could harm one's soul and mind. The whirlpool above the blood-red altar was obviously devouring murderous chi. Combining these two together, it was obvious that he wanted to summon the existence of the underworld. Moreover, it was a demon that specialized in murderous chi. In fact, Dongming Sage King had used the altar to summon the blood demon of the underworld. However, Dongming Sage King did not summon the Nether Blood Demon to control him. Instead, he wanted to devour him and transform himself into the Nether Blood Demon. This was Dongming Sage King's biggest trump card. It was also the reason why he was hesitating and struggling on the city wall. At this moment, it was surrounded by a huge amount of murderous chi. The eerie scene was as if hell had descended. In order to summon the Nether Blood Demon, Dongming Sage King had risked everything. For this, he did not hesitate to kill his own people and turn the entire Korean kingdom into a ghost town. The extent of his ruthlessness was obvious. At this moment, the giant whirlpool above the altar was madly absorbing the murderous chi from the Silla Kingdom. A bottomless black hole was gradually forming in the center of the whirlpool. When Dongming Sage King saw this, his eyes turned red. His breathing quickened, and his body trembled in agitation. He looked up and shouted loudly, "Kill them quickly! Hurry up and kill! When you kill all the zombies, it will be the time of your death." Ah! The underground secret territory was filled with Dongming Sage King's maniacal laughter. Outside the capital of Silla Kingdom, Guan Yu, Zhao Yun, Zhang Fei, Dian Wei, Huang Zhong, and other generals led their troops to the outskirts of the city. They took a look at the capital of Silla Kingdom that was enveloped by the fire shield. Then they raised the weapons in their right hands and shouted, "Shoot!" Woo! The long sound of the bugle horn was heard. At this moment, the signal flag in the hands of the messenger waved back and forth. In the next second, too, 41 million reincarnation immortal city soldiers changed their bows and aimed at the capital of Silla Kingdom. At this moment, Yi Chen of the reincarnation immortal city raised his right hand and waved it back and forth. In the blink of an eye, a huge exorcism talisman lit up the dark night. Boom! The talisman suddenly exploded and turned into millions of tiny exorcism talismans. They instantly attached themselves to the bows of the reincarnation immortal city soldiers. Clang, clang, clang. 2,410,000 arrows immediately left the bowstring. Then, with a sharp sound of breaking through the air, they flew straight towards the capital of Scylla country. At this moment, the arrows that were shining with the golden light of the exorcism talisman lit up the dark night once again. Then, they could be seen shooting toward the natives and players who had turned into zombies in the capital. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of arrows piercing through bodies instantly rang out, following which the Scylla natives and players who were pierced by the arrows all exploded into pieces. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, all the zombies that were hit by the bullets exploded into minced meat without exception. After the natives and players of Scylla Kingdom turned into zombies, their combat power soared. Their strength had reached the immortal realm. However, facing the army of the reincarnation immortal city, they still could not change their fate of being crushed. Reincarnation immortal city, City Lord's mansion. Yi Chen's divine sense enveloped Scylla Nation's capital. When he saw that the players and natives in Scylla Nation's capital were killed this time, he couldn't help but frown when he saw that the bloody mist of the zombie plague didn't appear like before. The players of Scylla Kingdom who had turned into zombies and swallowed the tampered berserker pill did not have a bloody mist with the zombie plague after they died. Not only that, even their black blood did not splatter out because of the explosion of their bodies. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly opened. His golden gaze fiery eyes was instantly used by Yi Chen. At this moment, Yi Chen's eyes directly emitted two balls of flames. At the same time, two rays of golden light directly emerged from Yi Chen's eyes. In the next second, the huge amount of blood chi that was crazily surging toward the underground of the capital of Scylla Kingdom was instantly reflected in Yi Chen's eyes. Damn it, I was wondering why there was even blood after these zombies exploded. It turned out that they had all turned into blood chi. In that case, this Dongming Saint King wanted to summon a demonic creature related to blood chi. It was probably a small fry under the Nether River Patriarch, or it might be a war general. As for its strength, it was probably at most a heaven immortal or a golden immortal. Not bad, not bad. The harvest this time would definitely not be small thinking of this. The corners of Yi Chen's mouth could not help but curl up. Then he looked at Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and the others and shouted, "Attack the city! Pay attention! Don't be hurt by the zombies!" After the players of Scylla Kingdom died, there would no longer be a zombie plague. The threat to the army of reincarnation immortal city would naturally be greatly reduced. In such a situation, logically speaking, long-range attacks were the most cost-effective. However, this would cause the army of reincarnation immortal city to lose a battle experience against the powerful. This was not to be humble or to think highly of Scylla Kingdom. It was because the natives and players in the capital of Scylla Kingdom had all reached the mortal evolution state after turning into zombies. Moreover, their numbers far exceeded that of the army of reincarnation immortal city. Of course, the army of reincarnation immortal city was not weak either. Just the super luxurious equipment that each of them had was enough to make up for the difference in numbers and cultivation state. Yes, Lord. Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and the other generals heard this and bowed loudly in unison. Then they led the army of reincarnation immortal city and broke through the city gate of Scylla Kingdom and charged into the capital of Scylla Kingdom. As for the fire barrier that enveloped the capital of Scylla Kingdom, it did not hurt the army of reincarnation immortal city because the one who used it was Yi Chen. He could completely control who it burned and who it did not burn. Everyone, get ready. Assault and shoot. Zhao Yun gave the order to attack with full vigor, and it reverberated throughout the entire battlefield of the capital of South Korea. After hearing Zhao Yun's order, the 100,000 White Horse righteous followers pulled their bowstrings to the fullest in unison. 500 meters ahead. All of you, shoot at will." Then, 100,000 bows were raised at the same time. The cold light of the metal arrowheads was like a dense array of stars, making people shudder in fear. Wong. Just as Zhao Yun gave the order, a dark cloud suddenly flew up from the ground and covered the sky. It flew straight toward the zombie horde of Scylla Kingdom on the opposite side at an extremely fast speed. The zombies of Scylla Kingdom on the opposite side also noticed the army of Reincarnation Immortal City that had charged into the city. As soon as they saw a living person, these zombies who had long lost their rationality roared crazily. Their instinct to eat urged them to roar and pounce toward the army of Reincarnation Immortal City. All of them had bloodthirsty eyes, and the fragrance of human flesh stimulated them to become even crazier. They pounced toward the army of Reincarnation Immortal City without caring about anything else. The scene was very terrifying. However, even though these zombies were incomparably ferocious, they still could not withstand the concentrated fire of 100,000 White Horse Righteous followers' spirit-grade bows and arrows. The zombies of Scylla Kingdom had just launched their attack when they were mercilessly baptized by the rain of arrows. The first wave of 100,000 spirit-grade arrows was like a large black cloud that could destroy the world, falling straight down from the 9 heavens. It directly crushed a large number of zombies of Scylla Kingdom that were charging forward. Puff, 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 puff. The sound of arrows drilling into muscles was continuous. The zombie horde that was charging at the front was instantly turned into a pile of porcupines. Then, with a bang, 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 they exploded into pieces and couldn't be more dead. Zombies did not feel pain. They only had a thirst for blood. Although they saw their companions fall one after another, it still could not stop them from advancing. However, what greeted them was still a cold and merciless rain of arrows. After the first wave of arrows, 100,000 White Horse Righteous followers began to shoot freely under the lead of Zhao Yun. They used the momentum of the warhorse's charge and kept shooting arrows. The arrows that carried death accurately shot into the vital points of the zombies of Scylla Kingdom. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. White lines shot out from the hands of the White Horse Righteous followers, crossing hundreds of meters in front of them and shooting into the heads of the zombies at an extremely fast speed. In the next moment, the zombies directly exploded under the absolute power of the spirit-grade bow and arrow. Pieces of flesh and brain matter splattered all over the place. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The dense cluster of arrows danced in the air like a swarm of locusts, constantly covering the blue sky in front of them. They drew a beautiful arc in the air, with a sharp whistling sound, penetrating and shattering the charging bloodthirsty zombies one by one. Everyone charge. Advance at full speed. Putting down the spirit-grade bow in his hand, Zhao Yun's order resounded throughout the battlefield. The long spear in his hand was raised high, and a dazzling light mark was drawn in the air. The agile warhorse under him rushed past a giant zombie with the sound of the wind. Before the zombie could react, the sharp long spear gently cut through the air, effortlessly splitting the head of the giant zombie that was as tall as a 5-story building. When the giant zombie's head flew into the air, its face still had a stunned expression, and gray brain matter sprayed out from its headless chest. Zhao Yun's warhorse galloped past like a gust of wind. The giant zombie's huge corpse was instantly swept up by the White Horse Righteous followers that were galloping from behind, and instantly turned into dust under the countless hooves of the horses. Just as Zhao Yun led the White Horse Righteous followers to kill, the 510,000 Samsara Legion that was the vanguard also moved. Chapter 993. Under the leadership of Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Huang Zhong, Dian Wei, and Gao Shun, they were divided into more than 10 teams and swept through the zombies in front of them. The soldiers of Reincarnation Immortal City who had yet to advance to the mortal evolution state followed behind the Samsara Legion and killed the zombies in the capital of Xinluo in an orderly manner. At this moment, The army of reincarnation Immortal City advanced toward the zombie army of Shinlua like a surging torrent. As for the zombies in Silla Country, after seeing so much blood food suddenly appear, it was like a matchstick falling into a barrel of gasoline. The entire zombie group in Silla Country was instantly ignited with the desire for bloodthirst. They became even crazier and more bloodthirsty. They pounced toward the army of reincarnation Immortal City without caring about anything. Their momentum was so great that it was like a landslide or a tsunami. If a timid person saw this scene, they would probably be scared to death. Soon, the army of reincarnation Immortal City and the zombie horde of Shinlua began to fight fiercely. Kill! The violent shouts shook the entire capital of Shinlua. This was the biggest battle since reincarnation Immortal City went abroad, but it was a battle between humans and zombies. The vanguard cavalry of reincarnation Immortal City charged fiercely at the zombie horde of Shinlua that was constantly pouncing on them. They kept urging their war horses to roll forward. The bloodthirsty and ferocious zombies of Shinlua were trampled into pieces under the hooves of the vanguard cavalry of reincarnation Immortal City. Even if they didn't feel pain, even if they weren't afraid of death, they still couldn't stop the advance of the army of reincarnation Immortal City. The entire capital of Shinlua had been covered in slaughter. In front of the steel torrent of reincarnation Immortal City, large numbers of mutated zombies of Shinlua were scattered from the middle by the elite cavalry of reincarnation Immortal City before they could charge forward. Countless zombies that pounced forward turned into broken limbs on the ground as soon as they came into contact with the vanguard of the cavalry. Under the flashing of the spear light, the limbs and flesh of the zombies flew all over the sky. The merciless slaughter had already suffocated this world. The flashing spear light in the hands of the soldiers of reincarnation Immortal City had completely dominated this battlefield. All the generals of the reincarnation Immortal City took the lead, charging left and right among the zombies, as if they were entering an unstoppable zone. The weapons in their hands were like sickles used to harvest wheat. Hundreds and thousands of zombies were killed by them in one strike. Not even their bones were left. The streets in the city had long been filled with minced meat, forming muddy paths of minced meat. The world-destroying spear light mercilessly crushed everything, flickering back and forth in the billowing smoke. Rumble, the army of reincarnation Immortal City began their charge. Amidst the muffled sounds of the horses' hooves, thousands of claps of thunder could be heard. If one had not been there, it would be hard to imagine that there was a defense organization that dared to charge at the zombie army. Yi-chan had been paying attention to the situation on the battlefield. Seeing that his army was invincible, he was overjoyed. This was because the overall strength of the reincarnation Immortal City's army was skyrocketing. Zombies were all at the mortal evolution state, and with the 10 times experience reward, it was hard for them not to improve rapidly. Damn it, not killing Dongming Sage King was indeed a huge gain. This trip to Silla Country was really not in vain. However, why was there still no movement from Dongming Sage King? Thinking of this, Yi-chan could not help but take a look at the ruins of Silla Country's imperial palace. Was the evil blood chi not enough? Well, it would save him the trouble of coming out early. His army would be able to kill fewer zombies. If the thing that Dongming Sage King wanted to summon came out early, then it would be difficult for Yi-chan's army to kill the zombies. This was because the demon that was proficient in evil blood chi would devour all the zombies as soon as it appeared. Then it would attack the living. One had to know that evil blood chi was contained in the bodies of zombies. Although Yi-chan did not know what drug made zombies have this attribute, it was an indisputable fact that the bodies of zombies contained evil blood chi. Once the demon that Dongming Sage King wanted to summon appeared, it would definitely destroy the zombies of Silla Country first, and then devour the evil blood chi. As for the reason, it was very simple. The demon that was summoned was proficient in evil blood chi and fed on evil blood chi. The more evil blood chi it devoured, the stronger it would be. It was precisely because of this reason that Yi-chan preferred to see the time that Dongming Sage King needed to summon it. The longer, the better. Thinking of this, Yichen immediately looked at the items that were dropped in the capital of Silla Country. A few seconds later, Yichen could not help but be stunned. Oh shit, Tao Enlightenment Stone. Although the Tao Enlightenment Stone could only last for a minute after being used, it was very useful and had many benefits. To be more precise, not only could the Tao Enlightenment Stone enter a state of epiphany, but it could also be used to refine Khanate spirit treasures, Khanate cardinal treasures, and even chaos cardinal treasures, greatly reducing the time needed to refine them. It was also because of this reason that Yi Chun had used most of the points that he had obtained from the Yellow Turban Rebellion and the Demon Invasion plot to exchange for the Tao Enlightenment Stone. Originally, Yi Chun thought that the Tao Enlightenment Stones that he would have were the ones that he had exchanged previously. Who would have thought that a Tao Enlightenment Stone would appear in Silla Country? Damn it, the Tao Enlightenment Stone that could not be obtained in the Eldritch world was exchanged in the Newbie area, and now it had appeared. This was really awesome. Haha! It was no wonder that Yi Chun was so happy. After all, the Tao Enlightenment Stone's effect could be said to be heaven-defying. There is no such thing as too many to use up. Yi Chun had exchanged for a large number of Tao Enlightenment Stones after the end of the Demon Invasion plot during the Yellow Turban Rebellion. However, Yi Chun felt that it was still too little. After all, Yi Chun needed the Tao Enlightenment Stone, and so did Yi Chun's women. Damn it, this trip to Silla Country was not just a huge profit, but a huge one. Thinking of this, Yi Chun raised his right hand and then sucked in the air. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The enlightenment stones that covered the sky and the earth, as well as all sorts of other things, instantly flew up from the ground of the capital of Silla Country, and then flew straight towards Yi Chun. When all the items were 1 meter away from Yi Chun, they disappeared without a trace. Looking at the Tao Enlightenment Stones and other miscellaneous items that Yi Chun had kept in his small world, Yi Chun's eyes lit up again. Damn it! There were even supreme-grade spirit stones. Although they were a little small, they were indeed supreme-grade spirit stones. This was a blood essence stone that could improve one's foundation and strengthen one's body. Damn it, the special items mentioned in the world announcement were these? Damn it. Fortunately, he had used the True Sunfire and the Red Lotus Hellfire in advance to cover Silla Country's capital. Otherwise, if other players rushed in and snatched 1 or 2 pieces, he would have suffered a huge loss. But then again, this Dongming Sage King was really a good person. Rumble, the Reincarnation Immortal City's army was still killing the zombies in Silla Country, killing them one by one. It was straightforward, simple, and domineering. A large number of special items kept dropping, and soon, the ground was once again littered with the sounds of clattering. After Yi Chun saw this, he immediately sucked in the air again. Then, on the ground of the capital of Silla Country, the Enlightenment Stone, the top-grade Spirit Stone, the Blood Essence Stone, and other items that were dropped after the zombies were killed, were all stored in the small world. Just as the Reincarnation Immortal City's army was in full swing and Yi Chun was happily collecting the special items, Dongming Sage King was also paying close attention to the battle in the royal city of South Korea in front of a huge bronze mirror in the underground secret territory. This bronze mirror was obviously a treasure. In the secret territory, it could show the scene in the royal city of South Korea, and the image was so clear that it was as if he was there. When he saw the invincible combat power of the Reincarnation Immortal City's army, Dongming Sage King was shocked. Although he was in the secret territory, Dongming Sage King was shocked by the invincible power and could not help but tremble. Reincarnation Immortal City. Yi Chun, I really did not expect this. Although I thought that you were very powerful, I have to admit that I still underestimated you. After pondering for a while, Dongming Sage King's eyes were filled with hatred again. He. Go ahead and kill them. These monsters were created by me to be killed. The faster you kill them, the faster my summoning ritual will be completed. When another blood demon who has signed a slave contract with me is born, it will be the time of your death. Ha ha! Chapter 994. While the army of Reincarnation Immortal City was on a killing spree, no one noticed that every time a zombie fell, a strand of baleful blood chi would seep into the ground. This baleful blood chi gathered on the ground and entered the secret realm without anyone noticing. Finally, it gathered in the blood-red whirlpool of the summoning altar. As more and more blood chi gathered, the terrifying black hole in the middle of the blood-red vortex that made one's scalp go numb was gradually expanding. Dongming's saint, who was standing in front of the altar, couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart as he looked at the growing black hole. At this moment, he stared at the deep black hole and muttered, "Hurry up and kill them quickly. Hurry up and kill them. Hurry up and kill them. After killing these zombies, it will be time for you to die." In the capital of Scylla Country, under the suppression of the invincible army of Reincarnation Immortal City, the tens of millions of zombies transformed from the natives of Scylla Country were quickly annihilated. In this battle, the generals and soldiers of Reincarnation Immortal City not only obtained a huge amount of experience, but they also obtained more than 5 million Tao Enlightenment Stones, 5 million Extreme Great Spirit Stones, tens of millions of Blood Essence Stones, and more than 10 million Immortality Tokens. After seeing the heaven-defying effect of the Immortality Token, even Yi Chun was very excited. Immortality Token, Heaven General. After using it, you will directly obtain the title of Heaven General. Your power will not be sealed in the Novice region. Your power will be unlimited. The combat power of the soldiers under the general's command will increase by 50%. Immortality Token, Heaven Soldier. After using it, you will directly obtain the title of Heaven Soldier. Your power will not be sealed in the Novice region. Your power will be unlimited. After a final count, a total of 100,000 Heaven General Immortality Tokens were obtained. The remaining 10 million tokens were all Heaven Soldier level tokens. After hearing this news, Yi Chun was overjoyed. Of course, he knew what this meant. The appearance of these 10 million tokens meant that he could recruit an army of 10 million that surpassed the great heaven state in the Novice region in the future. Moreover, they wouldn't be restricted by the Heaven Tao of the Novice region. Even if they reached the mortal evolution state, they would still be able to unleash 100% of their power. Damn, he didn't expect to be able to obtain something like this. Awesome. Thinking up to this point, Yi Chun immediately bestowed the general grade Transcending Mortality Medallion to Huang Zhong, Huang Su, Li Yuanba, Su Chu, and the others who had yet to receive the title of Heavenly General. As for the million-plus soldiers who had yet to receive the title of Heavenly Soldier, each of them was also given a Heavenly Soldier Transcending Mortality Medallion. All the soldiers who participated in this battle were given one top-grade Spirit Stone each. Once the order was issued, the entire defense headquarters erupted into thunderous cheers. At this moment, everyone knew that they had not followed the wrong person. What was the most important thing for a security organization? Of course, it was the morale of the army. If the morale of the army was broken, even if they had the best equipment and the best talents, they would be nothing more than a motley crew that could not withstand a single blow. If the morale of the army was stable and the soldiers fought with their lives, no matter how great the difficulty, they would be able to survive and turn defeat into victory. This was the difference. Yi Chun naturally understood this logic. Therefore, he had never mistreated his soldiers. This was also one of the reasons why Reincarnation Immortal City was so united. While the army of Reincarnation Immortal City was celebrating their victory, Dongming Sage King's summoning ritual was about to be completed in the underground secret land. Haha, Yi Chun, you didn't expect this, did you? You worked so hard for half a day, and in the end, it was all for me. Dongming Sage King's laughter was filled with the arrogance of a villain who had achieved his goal. The entire blood-red altar was now completely covered by a gigantic and terrifying black hole. Dongming Sage King was now standing in front of the gigantic black hole. The huge bronze mirror that he had used to observe the battlefield had been moved here by him. The mirror was facing the black hole, as if it was prepared for the summoning ritual. When a last trace of murderous chi entered the black hole, Dongming's Sage King took out something that looked like a compass. He faced the black hole and began to chant, "Honorable Blood Demon Lord, your most loyal servant invites you to this world to taste the most delicious blood food." Not long after, an extremely eerie and terrifying voice came from the black hole. "Who is summoning me? Have you prepared the blood food I need?" Dongming's Sage King was overjoyed when he heard the voice. He replied excitedly, "Honorable Blood Demon Lord, your most devout believer has prepared the perfect blood meal in this world. We are only waiting for your arrival." Hearing his reply, the terrifying voice came from the black hole again. "Young man, you have done well. If it is really as you said, I will reward you handsomely." As soon as the voice finished speaking, a blood-red mist came out from the black hole and shrouded the altar in an instant. Dongming's Sage King's expression was extremely solemn. He knew that success or failure depended on this move, and he did not dare to be careless. His initial plan was to devour the nether blood demon and obtain its power. However, due to the huge difference in strength between him and the nether blood demon, he had to sign a slave contract with the nether blood demon first. However, the process of signing the contract was extremely dangerous. After all, the difference in strength was too great. If Yichen had not forced him to this point, he would not have taken the risk. After all, if he failed, his body and soul would be devoured by the nether blood demon until nothing was left. However, he had no other choice now. Instead of being killed by Yichen, he might as well take the risk and use this last resort to fight for a chance of survival. At this thought, Dongming's Sage King's face showed a look of desperation. At this time, the blood-red mist coming out from the black hole was getting thicker and thicker. It was almost to the point where one could not see their own fingers. Dongming's Sage King forced himself to stay alert and stared at the huge black hole, paying attention to the changes in the blood-red mist. At this moment, something strange happened. Suddenly, a blood-red cloud formed by blood-red skeletons floated out from the black hole. As soon as the blood-red cloud came out of the black hole, it grew with the wind. In the blink of an eye, it had completely covered the huge black hole. Dongming's Sage King was prepared for this. He immediately held a compass-shaped instrument in one hand and quickly cast a spell in the air with the other hand. At the same time, he kept chanting, "The infinite heaven and earth borrow the power of the universe. Meridian universe mirror set." As soon as Dongming's Sage King finished his sentence, he saw that the huge bronze mirror that he had moved here, facing the black hole, suddenly flashed with a purple light. At the same time that the enormous bronze mirror flickered with brilliance, it released a buzzing sound that shook the heavens, its divine might awe-inspiring. At the same time, a gorgeous rainbow-colored light shot out from the bronze mirror. As soon as the rainbow light was released, it shone directly on the nether blood demon's body that had just come out from the black hole. At this time, the nether blood demon's body, which was formed by blood-red skeletons, was actually fixed in mid-air and could not move at all. Chapter 995. The nether blood demon, whose body was frozen in midair, was greatly shocked. It never thought that an ant that it could easily crush without even using its pinky would dare to plot against it. "Brat, you're really audacious. You dare to scheme against me? I'll give you a chance. Let me go now, or I'll destroy your body and soul, and you'll never be reincarnated." Ha ha ha! Dongming's Sage King once again regained his arrogant demeanor. He looked at the nether blood demon that he had bound in midair and was overjoyed. He laughed wildly as he scolded him. "Nether blood demon, you've been the nether demon king for hundreds of millions of years. Don't eat candy given by strangers. Even a 3-year-old child knows this, don't you? Serve you right for this calamity." The nether blood demon, who was still in midair, could not regain his freedom no matter how hard he tried. He was furious. "Little thief, quickly put me down. Otherwise, I'll definitely grind your bones to dust and obliterate your soul." Dongming's Sage King was unfazed by his threat. He continued to mock him. "Wow, I'm so scared. But I'm afraid you won't have that chance in your life. He he he. After Dongming Sage King finished speaking, he began his master recognition ceremony. He held the compass-shaped treasure in one hand, while his other hand kept chanting. This time, he was determined to win. Heaven and earth, borrow the power of the universe. Meridian Universe Mirror, help me subdue the Nether Blood Demon. I'll reward you handsomely in the future. Quick! After he finished chanting, Dongming Sage King quickly bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood on the compass-shaped treasure in his hand. The blood that dripped on the compass-shaped treasure quickly seeped into the compass-shaped treasure through the indentations on the compass-shaped treasure. Then, the compass-shaped treasure suddenly shone brightly, illuminating the altar as if it was daytime. Seeing that the master recognition ceremony was about to succeed, Dongming Sage King was overjoyed. He immediately opened his hands and threw the compass-shaped treasure into the air. The compass-shaped treasure flew in midair and directly covered the Nether Blood Demon's head. When it flew above the Blood Demon's body, the strange pattern that was originally engraved on the compass-shaped treasure actually shone brightly and directly separated from the compass. This strange pattern flashing with a dazzling brilliance began to grow larger and larger once it left the compass. In the blink of an eye, it completely enveloped the Nether Blood Demon's body. At this moment, the Nether Blood Demon could no longer remain calm after seeing this strange, glowing pattern. It actually began to let out an extremely eerie and terrifying howl. No, the Blood Devil of the Netherworld, have always been wise, but I never thought that I would fail miserably at such an easy task. Thief! I curse you to die a horrible death and have your soul destroyed. But before it could finish cursing, the strange pattern in the air suddenly fell without warning, directly imprinting itself on the Nether Blood Demon's body. No, I don't want to be a slave. The Nether Blood Demon looked to be in extreme pain. His shrill cries filled the entire underground mystic realm, lingering for a long time. Don't struggle anymore. Quickly surrender to me. Later, you will realize how wise your choice is. Let us rule this world together, stand at the peak of the world, and enjoy the endless glory. Dongming Sage King continued to persuade as he carried out the ceremony, hoping to destroy the blood demons as soon as possible. No, shameless thief, I swear. If I can get out of this, I will make you beg for death. Wah, I can't take it anymore. Stop right now. Stop dreaming. I advise you to surrender quickly so that you won't suffer more. Dongming Sage King's expression turned serious. He waved his hands and once again formed a series of seals. The next moment, the Meridian Universe Mirror suddenly shone brightly, and the power of the light immediately increased by a few levels. The Nether Blood Demon, who was under the Meridian Universe Mirror's illumination, suddenly let out a shrill howl. Thief, you will die a horrible death. He. You don't have to worry about it. Dongming Sage King saw that he was about to succeed. He did not waste any more time and hastened the ceremony. Although he was mentally prepared for the difficulty of the ceremony, he did not expect the Nether Blood Demon to be so difficult. Due to the huge difference in their strength, Dongming Sage King was now drenched in sweat. If it were not for his persistence, he would have fainted from exhaustion. Just as he was about to collapse, the Nether Blood Demon's voice suddenly stopped, and Dongming Sage King felt the pressure on him suddenly disappear. Success! Dongming Sage King looked up and saw that the Nether Blood Demon, who was originally struggling frantically, was now at the end of its rope. Not only was its breath weak, even its consciousness was beginning to fade. This is great. The heavens are really helping me. Dongming Sage King's emotions were indescribable. His spirit was instantly restored to full, and at the same time, he formed a series of seals. Under his continuous efforts, the Nether Blood Demon's last bit of consciousness was wiped out, and the master recognition ceremony was finally completed. Phew! It was not easy, but it was all worth it. After letting out a long breath, Dongming Sage King also relaxed. The next thing you needed to do was to devour the nether blood demon. Now that the most dangerous part of the master recognition ceremony was over, the next part of the master recognition ceremony was just a matter of time. He was very close to success. Now that the nether blood demon was severely injured, it was the best time to devour it. Hence, Dongming Sage King did not hesitate and immediately started the devouring process. He formed a seal with both hands, and the nether blood demon and the compass-shaped treasure that was suspended in mid-air flew toward him. The nether blood demon gradually became smaller as it flew toward him, and finally turned into a bloodline that disappeared into Dongming Sage King's palms. After absorbing the nether blood demon's body, Dongming Sage King was about to sit down and meditate to refine it. However, he did not expect that at this moment, something unexpected would happen. In Dongming Sage King's mind, a terrifying voice suddenly burst out. Hee, little thief, do you think it's so easy to devour me? In the capital of Scylla Kingdom, the Reincarnation Immortal City Army had already finished cleaning up the battlefield. After they withdrew, the capital of Scylla Kingdom was now completely empty. There were no living creatures left. Yi Chun, who had been waiting in Reincarnation Immortal City for Dongming Sage King to appear again, was getting a little impatient. Could it be that Dongming Sage King knew that he was no match for Dongming Sage King, so he sneaked away? Impossible. Yi Chun had been using his divine sense to lock down this area. Other than the secret territory underground, nothing could escape his detection. The only explanation was that Dongming Sage King was hiding in the secret territory and did not dare to come out. Since you don't want to come out, I'll go in and take a look. Yi Chun also wanted to know what this guy was up to in the secret territory underground. Chapter 996. Yi Chun came down from the Reincarnation Immortal City and soon found the entrance to the secret realm under the ruins of the Scylla Palace. The entrance to the secret realm was easy to find. It only used a simple illusion formation as a camouflage. It could only stop people below the mortal evolution state. With Yi Chun's power, it was almost effortless for him to break the illusion formation and come to the entrance of the secret realm. Seeing this entrance, Yi Chun couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. He originally thought that since Dongming Sage King could take out a zombie transformation version of the Berserker pill that even he couldn't identify, it meant that this underground secret realm was definitely not that simple. However, after breaking through the illusion array and seeing the crude entrance, his expectations were greatly reduced. If there were really any advanced goods inside the treasure trove, the decorations outside would be too shabby. Not just me, even Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, and Guan Yu would have been able to crack it easily. At this moment, Yi Chun couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment, as if he had come in high spirits only to return in disappointment. However, Dongming Sage King's summoning was indeed real. He just didn't know what the result of his summoning was. It still hadn't come out yet. Could it be that the summoning failed? As Yi Chun thought about it, he raised his right hand and directly attacked the stone door to the secret realm. Yi Chun didn't want to waste time on finding a way to enter such a low-level secret realm. Boom! The stone door was shattered like tofu by Yi Chun's palm. Stone fragments flew everywhere. With a leap, Yi Chun directly jumped into the secret realm. You're that little guy called Yi Chun, right? Not bad, not bad. You've cultivated to the tribulation transcendent state. As long as you wait for your death, I'll give you a quick death. As soon as he entered the secret realm, Yi Chun saw Dongming Sage King with a sinister face walking over slowly. He even looked like he was going to eat him. Seeing this, Yi Chun narrowed his eyes. This idiot Dongming Sage King had succeeded in summoning, but his body had been taken over. At this thought, Yi Chun immediately used his eyes of fire and gold. Then, he realized that this person's body was indeed Dongming Sage King's. However, the soul in his body had turned blood red and was constantly emitting an evil aura. Yi Chun frowned when he saw the state of the soul in Dongming Sage King's body. You're a member of the Nether Realm's Blood Demon clan? Kid, I didn't expect you to have such good eyesight. Don't worry, It will be your turn soon. When Yi Chun heard this, his face immediately turned cold, and he snorted coldly. That depends on whether you have the ability or not. As Yi Chun spoke, he began to raise his guard. Although Yi Chun could see that the Dongming Saint King had been possessed by the Blood Demon clan of the Nether Realm, he could not tell how strong his opponent was. Under such circumstances, Yi Chun did not dare to be careless. While Yi Chun was on guard, the Blood Demon also kept sizing up Yi Chun's body. His eyes were filled with bloodlust and greed. He was now drooling over Yi Chun's body. That was because compared to Yi Chun's body, the body he had just taken over was simply trash among trash. It was even worse than dog shit. He did not expect such a near-perfect body to exist in this mortal world. Damn it. He should have chosen this kid when he started the possession process. The Blood Demon was furious. He was a powerful being of the Blood Demon race, and yet he was trapped in the body of a mere mortal evolution state insect. This didn't suit his status at all. Moreover, he couldn't even unleash his full power. Of course, the Blood Demon was also very excited because he saw Yi Chun's perfect body. Possession. He must possess this kid. This was the perfect body. It was even more perfect and powerful than the Shura clan of the Nether Realm. The Blood Demon was so excited that he almost went crazy. His desire for Yi Chun's body had reached its peak. At this moment, the Blood Demon's blood was boiling. This body is really not easy to use. The Blood Demon, who had taken over the Dongming Saint King's body, looked at Yi Chun greedily and said lazily. In the next second, two blood-colored blades appeared in the Blood Demon's hands. My Soul Devourer blade hasn't tasted blood for a long time. Today, I'll use you as a sacrifice. The Blood Demon suddenly slashed at Yi Chun without warning. The Soul Devourer blade's attack was very strange. It was illusory, but it had the power to steal one's soul. Upon seeing this, Yi Chun's eyes narrowed. This damn Blood Demon was indeed the same as the Nether River ancestor. It was still so insidious and specialized in attacking souls. At this thought, Yi Chun waved his right hand, and the Khanate Cardinal Treasure Godslayer instantly appeared in his right hand. At this moment, the supreme power of the Khanate Cardinal Treasure immediately destroyed the power of the Soul Devourer blade. At the same time, the surface of the Godslayer was covered with a layer of blood-red flames. Then, it violently stabbed at the Blood Demon. The Godslayer's power was extremely domineering. The body of the spear tore through layers of space. Large areas of the void began to collapse under Yi Chun's attack. Blood Demon, your time has come. Upon seeing Yi Chun's powerful attack, the Blood Demon's face was filled with horror. Never in his wildest dreams had he imagined that Yi Chun's strength would actually be so formidable to the point that even he felt waves of palpitations. Impossible. He was just an ant. How strong could he be? The Blood Demon forcibly suppressed the fear in his heart and dodged the attack. Kid, is the weapon in your hand the Godslayer of the demon ancestor Rahu? When he asked this question, even the Blood Demon himself could not believe it. That's right. At least you have some eyesight. You did not disgrace the title of Blood Demon for nothing. Yi Chun was a little surprised that his attack missed. This Blood Demon was indeed not weak. Through the Blood Demon's attack and his eyes of fire and gold, Yi Chun could already confirm that this person in front of him was a member of the Nether Realm's Blood Demon clan. Although the Nether Realm's Blood Demon was shocked, how could he easily give up on such a good body? With a loud roar, he once again activated all his strength and slashed at Yi Chun with his saber. Kid, I don't believe that you can escape from me. The Godslayer and the Soul Devourer blade collided violently once again, causing the mystic realm to vibrate and hum. Boom! The two extremely powerful attacks collided violently. A large area of the void could not withstand the violent impact and gradually began to collapse. As the two of them exchanged blows, the Blood Demon was sent flying like a cannonball, flying dozens of feet away. Yi Chun defeated the Blood Demon, who had gone all out, in one move with an overwhelming advantage. At first, The blood demon did not take Yi Chen seriously at all. In his opinion, although Yi Chen had reached the tribulation stage, he was just a strong grasshopper. As long as he wanted to, he could crush him to death at any time. But now, he had been easily defeated by this ant. The huge psychological difference made it difficult for him to accept the reality in front of him. He finally understood that the ant in front of him was not so easy to deal with. If he did not use some of his trump cards today, he would not be kind. Thinking of this, the blood demon decisively sucked the essence out of Dongming's Sage King's body. Dongming's Sage King's body was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. Son of AB *TCH, this is a big move. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes narrowed, and then he became alert. Chapter 997. Sure enough, as Yi Chen had expected, in the blink of an eye, the blood demon's tyrannical and explosive attack, accompanied by a rumbling sound, fell towards Yi Chen at an extremely fast speed. The blood demon, whose body was full of cracks, held a blood-red saber with both hands and chopped down on Yi Chen's head. Yi Chen sneered. The Godslayer was wrapped in the red lotus hellfire and shot out. Yi Chen, go to hell. The nether blood demon, who had used a secret technique to increase his strength, once again used an extremely powerful attack. He wanted to completely destroy Yi Chen's soul. This was his sure kill attack. Clang! The saber and spear collided, and there was a flash of blood. At the same time, an earth-shattering sound exploded in the secret realm. Boom! In the underground secret realm, with the two of them as the center, a terrifying shockwave spread out in all directions. Yi Chen's abnormal and overbearing strength once again bombarded the blood demon's shriveled body. Puff! The blood demon spat out a mouthful of blood. Its body, which was already at the end of its life, started to crack inch by inch. It was on the verge of collapsing. The nether blood demon stared at Yi Chen viciously. The unwillingness in its heart was about to swallow it whole. It did not understand. It had already used all its strength. How could it still be defeated by this ant in front of it? Blood demon, are you in despair? Are you very surprised? Are you very angry and unwilling to accept this? Is it very difficult to accept being defeated by an ant? Yi Chen didn't know why, but perhaps it was because of his disgust for these evil creatures, but he really wanted to mock the blood demon and torture it before it died. However, the nether blood demon laughed unexpectedly when it heard this. Ha ha ha. Yi Chen, do you think you could defeat me like this? Today, I will let you know one thing. An ant will never be able to defy the heavens. Hearing the nether blood demon's words, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. At this moment, the thought that the blood demon had other tricks up its sleeve appeared in Yi Chen's mind. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, Dongming's Sage King's body, which was occupied by the blood demon, started to disintegrate. At the same time, streaks of blood flew out from the disintegrating body. In the blink of an eye, a huge blood-red skeleton was formed in mid-air. Kid, you are quite powerful. You actually managed to force me to reveal my true form. Choosing you as my body was the right choice. The nether blood demon still could not forget Yi Chen's body. Humph! How dare you speak so shamelessly? Yi Chen snorted coldly and stabbed with the god-killing spear in his right hand again without hesitation. Poochie! A sound was heard. Yi Chen's spear directly pierced through the blood demon's body in midair. He was not injured. The Godslayer had the ability to kill gods. It could devour souls and kill primordial spirits. Although the blood demon's realm was comparable to a divine immortal, and Yi Chen could not kill him with one stab, he could still severely injure him. But in the end, the blood demon, who was stabbed by the Godslayer, recovered in the blink of an eye before Yi Chen's eyes. Damn it, the blood demon tribe was just like in his previous life. They were notoriously difficult to deal with. Thinking of this, Yi Chen used the red lotus hellfire without hesitation. It instantly enveloped the blood demon's body. Boom! A demonic and blood-red lotus appeared in an instant, and then it burst into flames. In just a few breaths, the blood demon's body was reduced to ashes as he screamed in agony. But the moment the blood demon was burned to death, he came back to life again in mid-air. Ha ha, brat, you can't kill me. Ha ha ha. The blood demon's sinister laughter was like a maggot attached to a bone, unable to be shaken off. When Yi Chen heard it, he frowned again and again. How many lives does this King blood demon have? Could it be that this bastard learned the Nether River Patriarch's cultivation method and cultivated the blood god spawn? As long as the blood god spawn was not destroyed, he would not be destroyed. Damn it, who cares if he cultivated it or not? Blood god spawn? Keep killing. Kill until he can't come back to life. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes flashed with a cold light. He raised his spear and stabbed again. Kiki, come, I'll let you have a taste of the blood cloud array this time. The nether blood demon's voice was cold and murderous. He did not believe that this little ant could overturn the heavens. Just as he finished speaking, a huge blood web appeared in the sky and fell toward Yi Chen. Yi Chen snorted when he saw this. He then summoned the Xianyuan sword and used the killing sword art that Yi Chen had not used for a long time. At the same time, the Xianyuan sword rose into the air and slashed down violently at the blood web falling from the sky. Chi-la sound was heard. The blood-red net was directly split into two by the Xianyuan sword. However, just as the blood web was cut in half, it merged back together again. Seeing this, Yi Chen's face darkened. Damn it, this nether blood demon is really difficult to deal with. Kiki, seeing Yi Chen defeated, the nether blood demon was very happy and said proudly, Kid, no matter how fast your sword is, you can't cut the blood web. I advise you to surrender now. Wouldn't that be better? You're boasting shamelessly. Yi Chen's eyes widened when he heard this. He then shouted. At the same time, Yi Chen used the Shunshao lightning-wielding technique. Boom, 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 boom. Thunder rumbled in the sky. Then dark clouds suddenly rolled and lightning danced wildly in the sky. In the next second, a terrifying aura that made one's soul tremble suddenly erupted in the sky. At this moment, tens of thousands of blood-red lightning bolts appeared out of thin air and struck the blood web directly. In the blink of an eye, the blood web was split open. At this moment, the originally incomparably strong blood-red giant net actually began to melt directly. Sizzle. Along with an unpleasant stench, the blood-red giant net was instantly annihilated into nothingness. At the same time, the nether blood demon let out a shrill cry. Along with the scream, the nether blood demon immediately turned into a sea of blood. Every drop of blood in the sea of blood was a blood-red skeleton that kept flashing with dark demonic aura. How dare you hurt me? I want you to die. The nether blood demon was completely crazy. At this moment, every drop of blood in the sea of blood turned into an ugly demon and flew out of the sea of blood. Kill. As soon as these ugly and bloodthirsty demons appeared, they surged towards Yi Chen like an avalanche. Yi Chen's eyes narrowed. He raised his hand and shot out all the red lotus hellfire. In an instant, the sea of fire raged and drowned the demon defense team that rushed forward. The demon army that was being burned by the red lotus hellfire suffered heavy casualties. Miserable cries sounded one after another and did not stop for a long time. No. The nether blood demon was infuriated. His crazy roar shook the entire space. Yi Chen, I swear you must die. Idiot, wait until you get through this. As Yi Chen spoke, he did not slow down his killing of the demons. In a short while, the demon army that came out of the sea of blood was completely burned to ashes. Damn it, the nether blood demon roared. The endless sea of blood immediately disappeared. Suddenly, a 10-meter-long blood-red skeleton with a ghastly face and fangs appeared in midair. This incomparably huge skeleton's body kept flashing with a strange blood-red brilliance. There was a layer of spatial distortion around it, and this distorted space was filled with extremely dark and terrifying demonic aura. Go! Seeing this, Yi Chun used the Xian Yuan sword again. Green Lotus sword technique. At this moment, the green sword beam streaked across the sky and slashed at the huge skeleton with unparalleled sharpness. But just as the sword beam hit the skeleton's chest, the demonic aura around the skeleton's huge body suddenly moved slightly. Unknowingly, the space immediately distorted. In the next second, the Xian Yuan sword passed through the distorted space and returned to Yi Chen's hand. At this moment, the huge skeleton was completely unscathed. Chapter 998. It's the Space Divine Power. Yi Chen was stunned when he saw this. Yi Chen did not expect the Blood Demon to have the Space Divine Power. Indeed, he could not underestimate anyone. At this thought, Yi Chen stopped underestimating the Blood Demon. Kakik. Yi Chen, I told you that you can't kill me. How about it? Surrender to me now, and I can guarantee that your primordial spirit will live with me. When Yi Chen heard this, he sneered and said, That's right. If you choose to surrender to me now, I can allow you to be my battle slave. How dare you? You really don't know your place. Today, I'll teach you how to write the word death. The moment the Nether Blood Demon finished speaking, the demonic chi in the entire space surged wildly. It was like the end of the world. In the blink of an eye, a large number of demon generals, demon commanders, and demon kings flew out of the void. This time, the combat prowess of the high-level demon race was clearly more powerful than before. As soon as these demonic creatures appeared, they madly pounced on Yi Chen. They were like mountains toppling and seas overturning with irresistible force. Kill. Seeing these demon generals, demon commanders, and demon kings, Yi Chen snorted coldly. The red lotus hellfire covered the entire sky and covered the entire demonic army. However, this time, the effect of Yi Chen's attack was much weaker than expected. Although the red lotus hellfire was powerful, it could only slow down the demonic army's advance. Although the demonic army was instinctively afraid of this flame, the red lotus hellfire did not seem to be able to cause them much harm. Yi Chen was about to use other methods to eliminate the demon race army, but at this moment, the huge skeleton in the air suddenly moved. Kiki, the blood demon, who had turned into a huge skeleton, attacked Yi Chen viciously. At this moment, the demonic chi around the skeleton exploded, and the space around it became more distorted. Yi Chen, is this all you've got? The blood demon waved its hand, and the huge skeleton arm that looked like a withered branch suddenly shone with a black light. In the next second, the skeleton arm trembled and streaked across the sky. A terrifying spatial crack slashed toward Yi Chen like a sword. Good timing. Yi Chen's eyes narrowed. He immediately stabbed his spear toward the Demon King's face. The blood demon was very afraid of the Godslayer. The huge demon arm that was originally attacking Yi Chen immediately gave up and grabbed the Godslayer's spear. Boom! A huge collision sound once again, the Blood Demon King's attack. Neither side gained any advantage from this exchange of blows. They both borrowed the force of the recoil to retreat, and then looked at each other from afar. He had to admit that the Blood Demon was indeed powerful. Furthermore, it had the innate ability to manipulate space. It was indeed difficult to deal with it. Just at this moment, the demonic race army charged towards Yi Chen. However, the Nether Blood Demon suddenly stood there, not understanding what was going on. No matter how one looked at it, it was as if he was watching a good show. Oomph. What can you do to me with such insignificant skills? Yi Chen noticed the Blood Demon's expression. Without another word, he threw dozens of great annihilation talismans at the demonic army. Ugly ghosts, I'll let you have a taste of my talismans. The great annihilation talismans exploded the moment they came into contact with the demonic army. Boom, boom, boom. The entire demonic army was immediately engulfed in a whirlpool of explosions. Countless demonic army members did not even have time to react before they were annihilated by the violent explosions. They did not even have time to scream before they were blown to smithereens. No. I've had enough. The blood demon, who was watching the battle from afar, flew into a rage. He wanted nothing more than to tear Yi Chun to shreds. Looks like I have no choice but to go all out. Demonic blood ghost eye. Just as Yi Chun was bombarding the demonic army, the blood demon used its ultimate move that targeted the soul. And under the deliberate guidance of the nether blood demon's illusions, the killing intent in Yi Chen's sea of consciousness began to crazily grow. At this moment, everything in front of him had become demonic creatures. In this environment, he used all his methods. The demonic army was instantly annihilated 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. However, he did not realize that he was still slaughtering. In the endless slaughter, he had already lost track of time. He didn't know if 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years had passed. Finally, he felt a little tired. His movements became sluggish, and his consciousness became sluggish. But the demonic army in front of him had not been completely annihilated. He could only force himself to continue killing. The blood demon's move had succeeded. At this time, he was incomparably proud and arrogant. He couldn't help but raise his head to the sky and roar. Kakik, I, the nether blood demon, will soon become the nether demon lord that will rule this world. Sons of my demonic race, quickly come out and follow me, so that we can enjoy the prosperity of this golden age. Wah! This crazy roar caused the entire world to tremble. All the demons sleeping in the dark underground seemed to have heard the call of the Netherblood demon, and all woke up at the same time. They crawled out of the underground caves and looked up at the sky. At the same time, they let out a deafening roar. Nether Demon Lord, unify the world. We demons pledge our lives to follow you. In the underground where the demonic creatures gathered, the demons who had been silent for an unknown number of years suddenly looked up at the sky at the same time and roared crazily in unison. Has a demon lord descended to this world? That's great. Our demon race is finally going to be revived again. Wah! At this moment, the mountains and rivers in the entire game world were constantly shaking. The players for the various countries were all dumbfounded. They had no idea what was going on. At this moment, the blue sky suddenly turned blood red. The earth was also shrouded in an endless aura of death. The Nether Demon Lord, a name that had never been heard of in this game world, had already set off a perilous situation in the entire game world. No one knew what his arrival would bring to this world. But one thing was certain, it was definitely not a good thing. What's going on? Where did this Nether Demon Lord come from? Is the human world going to face a catastrophe again? All the human players began to feel uneasy. How could this be? How could the demons suddenly awaken? In these troubled times, there was no worse news than this. In the underground secret realm of Scylla country, Yi Chun, who was immersed in the illusion and killing nonstop, felt that he could not hold on any longer. His movements became slower and slower, and his consciousness became more and more blurred. He really wanted to lie down and have a good sleep. Just as he was about to completely lose his consciousness and be completely controlled by the blood demon, suddenly, a small green flag appeared in his sea of consciousness. This green flag constantly emitted an endless brilliance, which immediately cleared one's mind. As soon as this flag appeared, the illusion in front of Yi Chun immediately disappeared. His consciousness also instantly recovered. What's going on? Green Lotus flag? Damn it, I was hit by the blood demon's illusion just now. As soon as he saw the Green Lotus flag, Yi Chun instantly understood what had just happened. Chapter 999. Thinking of this, Yi Chun could not help but curse silently. Damn it, luckily I have the Green Lotus flag to protect me. Otherwise, I might have really died this time. The Nether Blood Demon's strength was comparable to a celestial immortal. Although Yi Chun was still in the tribulation passing stage, Yi Chun still had the ability to resist him. Otherwise, Yi Chun would have summoned Meng Pe to kill the Nether Blood Demon right from the start. Damn it, if I have the chance, I have to get a powerful protective treasure. Otherwise, I won't be so lucky next time. Thinking of this, Yi Chun immediately looked at the nether blood demon, who was not surprised to find that he had woken up. "Bastard, you've angered me." After hearing Yi Chun's words, the nether blood demon immediately laughed wildly without restraint. "Angered you? Aunt, your words are very funny." When Yi Chun heard this, he sneered and said, "That's right. In a while, you'll know what it means to be even funnier." Hearing this, the nether blood demon curled his lips in disdain and said, "Yi Chun, I admit that you're different from others. Not only is your body strong, but you're also blessed. You also have all kinds of magical powers. You even have the God Slayer, a connate cardinal treasure. However, you took so long to wake up. No matter what you have, it's too late." At this point, the nether blood demon suddenly smiled proudly and continued, "Because my demonic seed has been implanted in your primordial spirit. It won't be long before your body belongs to me." After hearing the nether blood demon's words, Yi Chun could not help but frown. He then used his divine sense to scan his sea of consciousness. In the next second, the blood-red flame hidden in his primordial spirit immediately entered Yi Chun's senses. "Damn it! If not for my powerful primordial spirit, I wouldn't have seen this thing." The demonic seed was an item, but it could also be seen as a special ability. It was similar to parasitic possession, but the process was different. However, the result was the same. To be more precise, if Yi Chun could not find the demonic seed in his soul or destroy it, then Yi Chun would be completely assimilated by the demonic seed and lose his sense of self. In the end, his body would be taken over by the nether blood demon. This King nether blood demon was really hard to deal with. However, if you want to scheme against me, you're dreaming. Thinking of this, Yi Chun's eyes suddenly widened, and then he shouted loudly, "Devour the heavens and earth." As soon as Yi Chun finished speaking, the primordial spirit in Yi Chun's Zifu instantly opened its eyes and violently refined the devil seed attached to the primordial spirit. In the blink of an eye, the demonic seed of the nether blood demon disappeared without a trace. The nether blood demon, who was feeling smug and looking forward to Yi Chun being assimilated by the demonic seed and losing all of his memories and consciousness, suddenly felt that he had lost contact with the demonic seed. His expression changed greatly, and then he screamed and roared wildly. "Yi Chun, you shameless thief, quickly return my demonic seed to me." When Yi Chun heard the nether blood demon's anxious, angry, and shocked words, he smiled coldly and said, "Return it to you? Don't worry, you'll be together with your demonic seed very soon." After Yi Chun finished speaking, the God Slayer in his right hand directly stabbed at the nether blood demon's body, which had already turned into a skeleton, with incomparable violence. Boom, boom, boom. The air exploded, and the spear's shadows broke through 10,000. In just an instant, the God Slayer in Yi Chun's right hand stabbed out 10,000 times with the support of his abnormal physical body and the reincarnation spear art. When the nether blood demon saw this, the soul flames in the two skeletal eyes trembled violently. Then, the nether blood demon quickly retreated to avoid Yi Chun's attack. The nether blood demon knew that the black spear in Yi Chun's hand was the weapon of the demon ancestor Rahu. The nether blood demon also knew what abilities the God Slayer had. It was also because he knew this that he was so vigilant and didn't want to clash head-on with Yi Chun at all. Of course, this was also one of the reasons why the nether blood demon wanted to seize Yi Chun's body. It couldn't be helped. The God Slayer's reputation was too great. As the successor of the demon ancestor Rahu, it was impossible for the nether blood demon not to want the God Slayer. Seeing the nether blood demon avoid the God Slayer without hesitation, Yi Chun sneered and asked, "Ugly ghost, why are you hiding? Don't you want my body?" When the nether blood demon heard this, his skeletal face instantly became extremely hideous and terrifying. However, he didn't dare to clash head-on with the God Slayer and wanted to dodge again. But how could Yi Chun give him the chance? Die. Yi Chun thrust out his spear again. Amidst tens of thousands of spear shadows and a loud explosion in the air, it went straight for the nether blood demon's vitals. When the nether blood demon, who had transformed into a gigantic skeleton, heard this, his eyes bulged. At this moment, his demonic power had reached its peak. He gritted his teeth and shouted at Yi-chan, "Do you think you can kill me? Don't waste your energy. I will never die. I'm a Netherblood Demon Master. I will definitely become the ruler of the myriad worlds." As the Netherblood Demon spoke, he flew away and avoided Yi-chan's Godslayer. When Yi-chan saw this, he curled his lips in disdain and said, "You're just an ant from the Nether realm. You came to the mortal realm to call yourself a Blood Demon Master. Die." As soon as Yi-chan finished speaking, the space in front of the Godslayer suddenly distorted. Then, the tip of the Godslayer's spear, which had unleashed tens of thousands of spear shadows, disappeared without a trace. In the next second, the Nether Blood Demon, who had just flown far away, suddenly contracted the dark green soul flames in his skeletal eyes. At this moment, the black and thick god-slaying spear instantly appeared behind the Nether Blood Demon. With a poochie sound, it pierced into the bones of the Nether Blood Demon. Roar! The Nether Blood Demon instantly let out a shrill howl of agony. At the same time, the soul flames in the Nether Blood Demon's eyes dimmed by a bit. When he saw this, Yi-chan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The Godslayer's Godslayer characteristic had taken effect. Although it didn't directly kill the Nether Blood Demon, this F***er wouldn't be able to last much longer. Just as Yi-chan thought of this, the Nether Blood Demon's furious roar rang out. "Spatial power! You actually have spatial power!" The Nether Blood Demon roared angrily as several cracks appeared on his skeletal body. When Yi-chan heard the Nether Blood Demon's shocked, angry, and fearful words, he glanced at the Nether Blood Demon and said, "I have more than enough. I have a lot, you just don't know." When Yi-chan finished speaking, the Godslayer in his right hand violently stabbed out again. This time, it was aimed at the Nether Blood Demon's left eye. When the Nether Blood Demon saw this, the soul flames in his eyes trembled violently. Then he saw the Nether Blood Demon frantically fly away from his original spot. However, it was too late. The thick black Godslayer once again stabbed into the distorted space and stabbed into the Nether Blood Demon's left eye. The thick black Godslayer instantly pierced through the Nether Blood Demon's skull and came out of his body. Roar! An even more miserable howl rang out from the Nether Blood Demon's mouth. At the same time, the demonic aura on the Nether Blood Demon's body started to vibrate violently. Then the entire underground mystic realm started to shake. Boom, boom, boom. Chapter 1000. The soul fire in the right eye of the Nether Blood Demon, whose left eye had been severely injured by the Godslayer, suddenly jumped wildly. At the same time, an aura that was filled with madness erupted from the Nether Blood Demon's skeletal body. Yi-chan's eyes narrowed when he sensed this. This son of a bitch is going all out. Just as Yi-chan thought of this, the Nether Blood Demon, whose left eye had been severely injured by the Godslayer, suddenly looked at Yi-chan and roared crazily. "Yi-chan, how dare an ant like you injure me? I want you dead. I want you dead." After the Nether Blood Devil yelled madly, his huge skeleton body suddenly turned red. Then, the Nether Blood Devil's skeleton body directly exploded with a bang. In that instant, the blood rain, which was emitting a fishy smell, exploded in the air. Yi-chan's eyes narrowed when he saw this. This blood. Something is wrong. Just as Yi-chan thought of this, the blood rain, which was about to fall to the ground, suddenly flew rapidly toward the whirlpool on the altar in the center of the mystic realm. Yi-chan, who was about to release the sun primordial fire to protect his body, saw this and his face darkened. Son of a bitch, it was screaming so fiercely. So, it was trying to escape. Yi-chan, when you ascend to the primordial world, I will lead the Nether Blood Demon clan to take your life. The Nether Blood Demon's roar suddenly sounded just as the blood rain was about to fly into the whirlpool above the altar. Ugly. If you want to take revenge, let's see if you have the chance. After Yi-chan roared, the space in front of the blood-red whirlpool above the altar was instantly distorted. Then, The blood rain flew directly into the distorted space. In the next second, the blood rain appeared in front of Yi Chun without a single drop falling. The Nether Blood Demon was difficult to deal with not only because he was comparable to a Sky Immortal, but also because of his ability with blood. To be more precise, any single drop of the blood rain that the Nether Blood Devil had created from his self-detonation would be able to return to the Nether Realm and continue to live as long as it entered the blood-red whirlpool above the altar. It was also for this reason that Yi Chun had gathered all the blood rain from the Nether Blood Demon's explosion in front of him without a single drop falling. To Yi Chun, the Nether Blood Demon had to be killed and could not be allowed to escape to the Nether Realm. Otherwise, the Nether Blood Demon would definitely bring endless trouble to Yi Chun. As for the reason, it was very simple. The Nether Blood Demon might be an unremarkable existence in the Nether Realm, but he was a subordinate of the Nether River Forefather. As long as the Nether Blood Demon returned to the Nether Realm, he would definitely tell the Nether River Patriarch about Yi Chun. As long as the Nether River Patriarch knew that Yi Chun had Demon Ancestor Ra's weapon, the Godslayer, he would definitely set his sights on Yi Chun. Yi Chun currently did not have the ability to fight against the Nether River Patriarch, even if he had the help of Meng Pa, who had become a Daluo Jinxian. This was not because Yi Chun was afraid of the Nether River Patriarch, but because it was an indisputable fact. It was also for this reason that Yi Chun would not allow the Nether Blood Demon to escape to the Nether Realm alive. Sensing that Yi Chun's spatial power had failed to return to the Nether Realm, the Nether Blood Demon was stunned for a moment. Then, he immediately roared ferociously. Yi Chun, you bastard! I'll fight you to the death. Die, you ugly C***T. When Yi Chun heard this, he smiled coldly. Then, with a thought, the primordial fire of the Grand Sun, one of the top 10 primordial flames, appeared with a boom in front of Yi Chun. Then, it immediately burst into flames. In an instant, the pure white primordial fire of the Grand Sun directly enveloped the blood rain that was rapidly flying toward Yi Chun and began to burn violently. Boom, boom, boom. After a series of violent explosions, mournful howls could be heard. Arg! In the next second, a roar filled with shock and disbelief rang out. The primordial fire of the Grand Sun. How is this possible? How do you have the primordial fire of the Grand Sun? The Blood Demon of the Nether had never imagined that Yi Chun, an ant that he could have easily crushed, would be able to refine the Red Lotus Hellfire and the primordial fire of the sun. Not only was Yi Chun's physical body, weapons, divine powers, and combat prowess abnormal, he was also able to refine the Red Lotus Hellfire and the primordial fire of the sun. Although the former was terrifying, he did not have to worry about being killed because of his special cultivation method. However, the latter was different. Not only was it a natural counter to him, it was also terrifyingly powerful. To be more precise, the methods that he had used to avoid the Red Lotus Hellfire were all useless now. It was also for this reason that the Nether Blood Demon was so terrified. When Yi Chun heard the Nether Blood Demon's shocked and terrified words, he glanced at the blood that was being engulfed by the primordial fire of the sun. Then he said, "Nothing is impossible. To me, nothing is impossible. You could die in peace, you ugly piece of shit." When Yi Chun finished speaking, the Nether Blood Demon's begging voice rang out. "I surrender. Let me go." Surrender? You're thinking too much. If it were someone else, I might have agreed directly. Unfortunately, you are not someone else. There is no possibility of you agreeing. Yi Chun curled his lips in disdain when he heard this. The Nether Blood Demon was stunned when he heard this. Then, he hurriedly asked, "Why? I sincerely submit to you. Your sincerity is useless. If you want to blame someone, blame it on the fact that you are the underling of the Nether River Patriarch." Yi Chun raised his eyebrows when he heard this. You actually know the Patriarch. Who are you?" When Yi Chun heard the Nether Blood Demon's shocked question, he smiled and said, "The Great Han Empire's General of Agile Cavalry, Yi Chun. Do you dare to speak the truth?" The Nether Blood Demon roared anxiously and furiously. You want to send the news back to the Nether Realm? Don't even think about it. Even if you were at your peak, don't even think about sending the news back to the Nether Realm. Yi Chun smiled coldly when he heard the Nether Blood Demon's words. You! The Nether Blood Demon roared in shock again. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a series of cracking sounds rang out. Pop! Pop! The blood that the Nether Blood Demon had blasted out was burned into nothingness. After a few breaths, the Nether Blood Demon's aura completely disappeared from the entire underground secret realm. At the same time, the whirlpool above the secret realm altar stopped and disappeared without a trace. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for killing Dongming Sage King and obtaining all of Scylla Nation's providence. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for killing the Nether Blood Demon. Due to his special status, player Yi Chun is rewarded with innate attribute points x 10,000, lottery ticket x1, and divine beast level up scroll x3. Chapter 1001. As soon as the system notification ended, Yi Chun's eyes lit up. Damn, this Nether Blood Demon was not killed for nothing. This time, not only did he obtain 10,000 innate attribute points, but he also obtained 3 divine beast advancement scrolls and a chance at the lottery. Just as Yi Chun thought of this, a world announcement suddenly rang. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for successfully annihilating Scylla Country. Player Yi Chun is rewarded with innate attribute points x 3,000. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for successfully killing Scylla Country's special character, Dongming Sage King. Player Yi Chun is rewarded with innate attribute points x 1,000, purple coins x 100,000. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for successfully killing the Nether Blood Demon. Player Yi Chun has completed the hidden mission to stop the revival of the Nether race. Player Yi Chun is rewarded with innate attribute points x 10,000, lottery x1, and army advancement token, God, x 10. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for successfully saving the game's newbie area. Player Yi Chun is rewarded with luck x 1000000, innate merit x ***. The 5 world announcements were repeated 3 times in a row, instantly causing the entire world channel to explode. Damn! I was wondering why the world was shaking. So it was caused by the Nether race. But, speaking of which, what the hell is the Nether race? F***CK. Who the F***CK knows? But one thing I can confirm is that this whatever demon race is not to be trifled with. And as long as they appear, other than King Yu Yi, no one could stop them. Damn, aren't you talking nonsense? The Nether race hasn't appeared yet, and they're already in such a huge formation. If they appear, it'll definitely be awesome. What's there to be afraid of? That self-proclaimed Netherblood demon has been killed by Boss Yi Chun. The mutation has also ended. What's there to be worried about? Damn, did none of you notice Yi Chun's rewards? F***CK. There are so many innate attribute points just sitting there. There's also the lottery, the army promotion order, God, fortune, innate merit, and so on. Idiot, don't tell me you're thinking of snatching Boss Yi Chun's things? F***CK off. I just want to know what the rewards are. Idiot, so what if you know? Don't tell me you can fight it out? Dream on. Beauty's Alliance, congratulations to Yi Yu of Gojoseon for another great victory. Beauty's Alliance will always support Yi Yu of Gojoseon. Anyone who dares to oppose Yi Yu of Gojoseon, no matter who they are, will become Beauty's Alliance's mortal enemy. We will kill them no matter where they go. New Yen Wang Alliance, congratulations to Yi Yu of Gojoseon for another great victory. The New Yen Wang Alliance invites Yi Yu of Gojoseon to visit us and discuss the future of Yen Wang. On the World Channel, the Eastern players were discussing because of the series of world announcements made by Yi Chun. After Yi Chun took a look, he frowned. New Yen Wang Alliance. In Yi Chun's last life, the Yen Wang Alliance was an overlord. They were huge and strong. In this life, the leader of the Yen Wang Alliance plotted against Yi Chun and was killed by Yi Chun. From then on, the Yin-Huang alliance disappeared. And now, the new Yin-Huang alliance suddenly appeared and even openly invited Yi Chun. How could Yi Chun not pay attention to this point? Was this new Yin-Huang alliance created by the original members of the Yin-Huang alliance, or did they purposely borrow this name? No matter what the reason was, the goal of this new Yin-Huang alliance should be to borrow his strength to unify the chaotic East. If not, he wouldn't say something like discuss the future of Yin-Huang. He just didn't know if there were any shadows of the hidden powers in his last life. Thinking about this, a cold light flashed across Yi Chen's eyes. At the same time, a thick killing intent exploded from Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen's sudden killing intent had something to do with the hidden powers. As for the reason, it was simple. The hidden powers didn't dare to openly go against Yi Chun, but they dared to make use of Yi Chun. This point could be easily seen from how the hidden powers made the players under them praise Yi Chun and Yi Chun. They even said that only Yi Chun could unify the East and restore the order before the meteor fell. As long as the hidden powers plan succeeded, they could submit to Yi Chun on the surface. Then, they could peacefully play the game and develop. Then, they could chase after Yi Chun and surpass Yi Chun. As for Yi Chun, as long as he was praised to the point that he didn't know his own name, then Yi Chun's time would be wasted, and his strength and influence would stagnate. This wasn't some alarmist talk, but the truth. This was because the devil race in the real world would definitely hide in the highlands or even underground. This way, if Yi Chun wanted to destroy the devil race and solve the crisis in the East, he would have to invest a lot of time. Hence, as long as Yi Chun fell for it, there would only be one outcome. Not only would he be working for others, but he would also be in more and more danger. Of course, Yi Chun had already deduced this point. Hence, it was impossible for Yi Chun to fall for it. He definitely wouldn't be tempted by the righteousness of the human race. Of course, even if the hidden powers didn't scheme against Yi Chun wouldn't do it either. This was because it would be a waste of effort and it would cause him to fall into a dangerous situation. Of course, this wasn't important. What was important was that Yi Chun thought about the hidden powers through the new Yin-Huang alliance that had just popped up. Once the overseas expedition ended, this new Yin-Huang alliance and the hidden powers would visit them one by one. Thinking about this, Yi Chun laughed coldly. Then, he looked at the abstract options on his status panel. He had already saved up many lottery chances. The combined mode lottery could be used now. Thinking about this, Yi Chun directly clicked on the lottery option. Ding! Detected that player Yi Chun has many lottery chances. Will you activate the combined mode? The moment the system notification ended, Yi Chun made his choice without hesitation. Yes. Ding! Reminder to player Yi Chun, in the combined mode lottery, all the lottery chances can be combined into one. The number and grade of the items can be randomly increased. When Yi Chun heard this, he couldn't help but frown. Damn, this notification was the same as before. It was still so annoying. It wasn't strange for Yi Chun to think this way. After saving up so many lottery chances and combining them into one, Yi Chun liked the increase in grade. However, the random increase in number was a little annoying. If it randomly increased by 0, it would be the same as not increasing at all. F*CK. Let's not think about this anymore. In any case, my luck has already advanced to Child of Destiny, yellow grade, low grade, and it hasn't exploded for a long time. This time, the lottery will definitely be the same as before, and it will directly explode. It probably won't be too bad. Thinking about this, Yi Chun didn't hesitate to once again activate the combined mode lottery. The moment Yi Chun made his decision, the system notification sounded out. Ding! Lottery begins. The moment the system notification ended, a huge wheel appeared in front of Yi Chun's eyes. When Yi Chun saw the items on the roulette wheel, his eyes widened. Damn! Damn! The number of items on the wheel was the same as the previous lottery. There were 5 items, and all of them were extraordinary. Tianyi Xianhuang Exquisite Pagoda X1, Chaos Bell X1, Panga Blood Essence X1, Satyr Peach, 90,000 years old, X100,000, Enlightenment Stone X 500 billion. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.